again on a Friday night by myself, and I took one look at this and I said, no, not going to do that. Skaz is here, which is good. Love having Skaz, but we got to bring in the expert. Call in the heavy guns, the heavy ammunition. It is a playoff preview night here on the Joe Show. McCarthy in for Joe. We're going to get into the Celtics a little bit later on. Robb is going to join the program, do an in-depth playoff preview of Celtics Sixers. Hopefully, certainly beyond that for the Celtics. And to talk Bruins, really for the next hour. I don't know if he's going to stick around for the next hour. He's welcome to or not. Kevin Majori from Felger and Maz, one of the true hockey experts at the station. Kevin, you spent about 30 seconds at Zoe's mic, and you said absolutely not.
There is a layer of grime or disgusting stuff on that. I tried to put on a pop filter that he has been using in recent days. It wasn't fitting. I said I got to make a seat change. That mic is. I feel like I have to take a picture of it. That mic is disgusting. I had to make a seat change.
I will never sit there. I've decided I will never ever sit there.
I don't know how people do it every day.
I don't know how Maz does it every day. Like combat pay.
That is just that was. I looked at it, tried to make a change on the coverage, and then I said you suggested the seat change, and I was like, I'm moving. I'm not. That is a disgusting microphone.
You need a priest to get rid of that thing. You can't. There is not enough. There aren't enough Lysol wipes, Clorox wipes, sprays. It doesn't matter. I mean, you could nuke that thing. You can't get rid of it. It's like a Twinkie, and it's going to survive everything.
A layer of gross stuff all over that. So I'm out. But yeah, happy to be here, Matt.
Glad to have you. Bruins have a chance in the series?
I think they do. We were discussing off here. I am picking against them, but I mean, we're talking about a Buffalo team that hasn't been in the playoffs in 14 years, has very minimal playoff experience on their roster, and anybody that has the playoff experience on their roster obviously hasn't been in Buffalo. There's nobody from 14 years ago. It's guys that have come in through trade, free agency. I think the Bruins, they have a legitimate chance here.
How much of that is tied into the advantage they have in net? How much of that is tied into the experience they have on the roster? Because I mean, those are my two factors. I mean, this Bruins team has been up and down all year long. They're not as good as Buffalo. They're not as talented as Buffalo, but experience and goaltending. I mean, there's a lot to be said for that, especially early on in the Stanley Cup playoffs. I totally buy in on them having a chance in this series.
The goaltending to me is the number one. Obviously, the two things are goaltending and experience, but I think the goaltending is number one on that list. Swayman, he's never won a Stanley Cup. We know that. Everybody knows that. But his numbers in the times that he's been in the playoffs are not bad. I can pull it up. I had a list, but .922 save percentage, I believe, and like a 2.3 goals against average. Those are really good numbers. Mm-hmm. His last time in the playoffs, they lost in the second round, 6 games to Florida. He let up three in the final 2 games of the playoffs. He let up 3 goals. They lost. They won 2-1 game 5. They lost 2-1 game 6. 2 closeout games, he let up a total of 3 goals. He was there for them. He did what he needed to do. It's just the offense couldn't do what they needed to do. I think that's the massive advantage over the experience is in net. And who knows? It's going to be Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen. He could be a ridiculously good goalie. We just don't know about it yet. But right now, from what we see, what we know, that's the biggest advantage to the Bruins is that they have a goalie that's been there, a goalie that's won important playoff games, and that right now going into it is what can separate them from this Buffalo team.
But you are still picking Buffalo. Why?
I am picking Buffalo. I have other concerns with the Bruins. The goalie is the one thing that I think is the clear advantage. I think there are other things with the Bruins that it scares me, like Hampus Lindholm. I don't think he has that playoff intensities raised ability there, right? And then once you get beyond, on the regular season, McAvoy, Lindholm was your top 2 defensemen. Once you get beyond that, okay, Zadorov's good, but he takes a stupid penalty. He sometimes just doesn't look like he is doing what he's supposed to be doing out there. Lohrei, we know that Lohrei has the ability to turn the puck over. Andrew Peeke, kind of had a rough back half of the year. I think they were considering trading him, or that's what people wanted, was to trade him at the deadline. And then Jonathan Aspero, who's never played in the playoffs before. It was his first year in the NHL. So I think where my concern with a guy like Hampus Lindholm, once you get past that and you get past McAvoy and Lindholm on defense, Buffalo's defense is just better. And then I go up front, the other Lindholm. I mean, Elias Lindholm did not have a great year. He hasn't really had a great time here in Boston. The positive, his last 2 playoff runs, he's been pretty good. The negative, what we've seen the last 2 years. The entire third line, probably a major factor in your future, but Fraser Minton, Marat Hustendinov, James Hagens, they're all very young, right? If they get caught up in matchups against Buffalo's best team because they get best line, because they have the number one change, the last change in the home games, that could be an issue for the Bruins. So I think overall, when you look at the offense and some of the inexperience and then some of your higher paid players maybe being big question marks going into the playoffs, that's where I just kind of lean Buffalo. I know they don't really have the experience, but I think they're a little more well-rounded as a whole.
All right, our opening take, which is a Bruins playoff preview with Kevin Majori, is presented by Super Service Today. Upgrade your home with an electric heat pump system from Super Service Today to stay cool this summer, warm all winter, and save on energy costs while reducing your carbon footprint. For a free estimate, visit superservicetoday.com. I'll translate that. The Bruins don't have enough depth. Is that a fair way to summarize that?
I would say maybe not that they don't have enough depth. I'm just concerned
you don't
about
believe
the
in their depth.
I don't believe in the depth. And the other one I wanted to go was at the second line. Second line's been great all year. Zacha, Arvidsson, Middlestat. Pavel Zacha has played 25 career games in the playoffs. And I like Zacha. I'm a Zacha defender.
Yeah.
I love the guy.
He's done nothing in the playoffs.
You know how many goals he has in 25 playoff games?
I'm going to guess 3.
Lower.
2.
Lower.
1?
He has 1.
He
has 1.
I don't like that.
It was Game 6 against Florida. So he had played 7 the year, just strictly with the Bruins, 7 the year before, and 12 games in 2024 until the 13th game he scored the goal. So there's a little bit of concern right there. Victor Arvidsson has played 87 games in the playoffs in his career, 15 goals. That's an entire, basically you're looking at an entire season under 20 goals. And then Middlestat, honestly, the one, he has 11 playoff games. He has 9 points. I was looking at it, all even strength. He's the one that people question in terms of his playoff ability. Like, he's a bit on the softer side, right? Couldn't do the pull-up. That was the big thing. Couldn't do the pull-up at the Combine. He is, I mean, at least his numbers are there, but how does he respond when the temperature rises? So I'm not saying that they don't have the depth, because there's obviously a bunch of question marks with Buffalo, but second line, the playoff production really hasn't been there for those guys. Third line is all, I mean, 2 rookies, true rookies, and Hustendinov's second or third year in terms of the amount of games he's played. I just have big question marks on how the depth is going to be now that the temperature has really risen in the level of the game.
All right, your phone calls with Kevin Majori. We'll be taking them all night long. Bruins playoff preview, at least to start the program, leading into our Celtics playoff preview later on with Brian Robb. 617-779-0985. Marco Sturm made some fascinating comments today. I see you nodding your head over there, Kevin, so I'm assuming you know or what I'm referencing.
I think I know what you're referencing.
I want to get to what Marco Sturm said about this series because it really feels like he threw the gauntlet down. I mean, drawing a line in the sand, Marco Sturm basically saying the Bruins are better in certain facets of the game. You rarely hear a coach come out and say something this in your face before the start of a playoff series. We'll get to those comments. We'll get to your calls again, 617-779-0985. Majori's here. Matt McCarthy in for Joe Murray tonight on the Sports Hub.
You're listening to Joe Murray. Midday, Joe Murray gets you right through the night.
I actually spoke with women today.
On the Sports Hub.
We'll see. We'll see. In the past, Lily was not really a big matchup guy. He did his thing, so we'll see where it goes. Maybe he does it different in the playoffs, but we don't really care. We don't really care. We know how after play we're going to be ready to go. We're excited. We are bigger, stronger. We are more physical. We just have to be smart, but we don't go after them. And whoever comes in first, last, second, I don't really care. We try to play our game and not their game.
Hey, Majori, how would you feel if I came up to you and said, I am bigger, stronger, and more physical than you? How would you feel about that?
I'm going to be honest. Just looking at the pure size of me, pure size of you, I'd be like, yeah, I agree. But I think in a closer, if you found somebody like Sean Silver,
Sure.
you guys, I think he'd be like, all right, settle down.
Calm
I
down
think
there.
He'd be a little aggravated that you said that.
Big Jim Murray, Scott Zolak.
Yep.
I go up, I'm bigger, stronger, more physical than you. What do you think the response is when a hockey coach says that about another hockey team? We're bigger, stronger, and more physical than you.
I think it pisses the other team off. And I do think Marco Sturm did that today. I've seen some tweets. That's how it came across. I didn't see him live or see any. It was out there. I came across it by seeing upset Buffalo fans and some upset Buffalo media saying, the hell's this guy saying? Saying that they're tougher, more physical than us.
Is he right?
Personally, I agree. Yes, he is right. I think the Bruins are tougher. I think the Bruins are more physical. And I think that's an advantage the Bruins definitely have in this series.
See, I have no problem with these comments, and I'll tell you why. Yes, it pisses off Buffalo. Yes, if I'm Tage Thompson, I'm looking at this and I'm saying, all right, buddy, come on. But the Bruins have responded to this type of stuff from Marco Sturm this year. You go back to earlier in the year, I think it was the game against Anaheim, where he called them out and, basically said, is it really going to be like this year? Is it going to be like the way it was last year? And I'm paraphrasing here, but I feel like those comments woke the team up and they've responded to that. I think this is Marco Sturm understanding who his team is, and this is a challenge to them. Yeah, it's a challenge to Buffalo, too. It might wake them up, but his attitude is, I don't care. I'm here to challenge my own team and let the chips fall where they may. If they're upset on the other side, if that galvanizes them, that doesn't matter if it galvanizes my team.
Exactly. And especially pushes on your fourth line, your fourth line wings, especially Tanner Jeannot and Mark Kastelik, who are not afraid to get physical, are not afraid to fight, and I wouldn't say they won all their fights this year. I remember one of them losing to Olivier a few weeks ago, but they had more wins than losses in the fights this year. Kastelik and Jeannot can play the heavy game. Your number one defenseman loves to hit, especially come playoff time. Zadorov's also a big dude. I think you're right. He's calling those guys out and in a way of saying, I know they're going to be physical, but I trust my guys to be just as physical and to get that momentum.
It's a tone-setting comment is what it is. He set the tone for this series. Maybe Buffalo responds to it, but he doesn't care if Buffalo responds to it because he thinks his team is going to respond to it too. And if you're playing that type of series, let's say let's say these comments do, get Buffalo. Is that him trying to get Buffalo to play a different style of game that they're probably not as better built to play as the Bruins? I mean, who has more talent in this series, Buffalo or Boston?
Overall, I mean, it's close, but I think, I lean Buffalo. Part of the reason, but you're right. They play a faster game.
Yep.
They have guys they can hit, especially there's Tyler, I forget his last name, the center, and Beck Mallinston. Those guys are on the fourth line. They can both hit. Tyler Kozak and Beck Mallinston. Those guys can both hit. Those are fourth line guys. But they play a faster game, a more up-tempo game. The Bruins, you're right. Maybe he wants to bring Buffalo down to their level on the physical style because he knows if we get them in a physical game, it's us. We're beating these guys.
I love it. I love these comments. I think it is next-level stuff from Marco Sturm. For a first-year head coach to do this, I mean, that was my reaction right away. It was like, oh, no, he is trying to generate this response from Buffalo. He's trying to generate a response from his team, but he doesn't mind that this is going to be the response, if so, that's being generated in Buffalo, because you get them playing a style of play that the Bruins are probably best suited to play or better suited to play in this series. They're the underdog in this series.
Yeah.
They should be the underdog in this series. That doesn't mean that they don't have a damn good chance to win it, because I do think they have a damn good chance to win it. They've got a more experienced team. They've got better goaltending. And if they play a more physical brand of hockey, if this is true, we are the bigger, stronger, more physical team. I think all of those things are true. If that's the style of the series, advantage Bruins.
And another thing, I mentioned with McAvoy, right? So I think the number one defenseman race is tight. Rasmus Dahlin's a tremendous defenseman, especially gifted offensively. But when you think about Charlie McAvoy, I know people, they want more out of McAvoy at times. When you think about Charlie McAvoy and you think about when he raises his game and becomes really that top 10 defenseman in the league, it's in the playoffs. You think of some of his biggest, or the Four Nations. He lit up McDavid last year. 3-4 years ago, he lit up Sebastian Aho in his own end. The response after the Bennett sucker punch beginning of Game 4, he dropped Reinhart. Reinhart didn't even have the puck. He should have got a penalty. But McAvoy went out of his way and said, I'm putting the first guy that I see in my tracks on the ice. And I think Sturm's also trying to get out there of, I need to get McAvoy in that physical mode. I need to get Charlie McAvoy in the best situation for him, what brings him out as a top 10 defenseman, because he's going to be very important to our back end. And if he's calling out a guy and McAvoy's the one that sees it, and the first guy that's coming down the boards Sunday night gets hit by McAvoy and it gets him going, that's a great move by Sturm of getting your number one guy going back there.
What do you think of the job that Sturm has done this year?
So I love the job that he did this year. I do have a couple. I think there were a couple questionable calls that he made that ultimately cost them games in terms of coaches' challenges. I don't think he was great with the coaches' challenge. And the other question I had, and Neely was on today with Zoe and Bertrand, and he's like, we really didn't expect to score a lot of goals this year, and we did. Going into the year, we were like, this is going to be a lot of Claude Julien type 2-1, 3-2 games. There weren't too many of those this year. I feel like at times Bruins gave up a lot of goals, and especially in losses, in the bad losses. So that maybe want to see a little bit more of that. And again, what Cam had said earlier could have been in relation to them not having a lot of practice time. So that getting his system, getting the guys to learn his system, maybe took longer for that to happen because they didn't have a lot of practices because of the condensed schedule. Maybe that solves itself next year, and they let up less goals, and they score less goals, but it means they're also letting up less goals, so the defensive system is more there. But I didn't see as much as I thought out of that this year. But overall, I love the job that he did. People didn't really expect them to be here. I know some people said, they could be a bubble playoff team, and kind of what they were, right? They were a few points out from missing the playoffs, but I think he did a tremendous job as a first-year head coach, and it really was I wouldn't give it an A+, but B+, A, it's up there.
Give me 3 guys for the Bruins who are the key guys in this series and 3 guys for Buffalo.
All right, so, Jeremy Swayman, obviously number one.
Has to be.
I'm going to lean really, well, Jeremy Swayman's number 1, Charlie McAvoy's number 2, and I'm going to go with, just because I know what Pastrnak is capable of, we obviously know that he's important, I'm going to go with Elias Lindholm. He has, and I'm one of more of his defenders in town, he has been, he hasn't been good the first 2 years. There's no way to put it. There's no way to put that he hasn't, he sucked.
It's amazing what happens when you're not playing with Gaudreau and Tkachuk.
Exactly. But going back to his last 2 playoff runs, I had mentioned earlier, he's played 25 games to get 10 goals and 9 assists. So those are numbers that you want to see, especially 10 goals in his last 2 playoff runs. I'm going to put it on Lindholm. Can he find what he's found in his last 2 playoff appearances? Because if he starts driving that line and he has Pastrnak and Geekie going, they're going to be a tough team to beat.
It wasn't that long ago. You think about when they were calling up Hagens. It was Lindholm and Geekie on the third line.
Yeah.
It was, Minton and Hustadinov on the first line. I want to get into the Hagens factor and that third line, which I think is such a potential X factor for this team. The young kids line, whatever you want to call it, with Minton and Hustadinov and now Hagens. I want to get into that. Skaz, I see you putting your headphones on as well. I do just want to get Majori's 3 players for Buffalo that matter, and then I think Skaz has got a question for you.
So my number 1, Buffalo, Tage Thompson, 40-goal guy. We know what he's capable of, although I think there are at times his physical ability or his toughness is, for his size, gets brought up that it's just not fully there. So how does Tage Thompson respond in this is his first playoff games? And then on the back end, I'm going to go with Owen Power. I know what Delene's capable of. Owen Power, former first overall pick. He's been a penalty killer. If he has a really good series on that second pair, it's going to be tough for those middle lines, the Zaka line, the Minton line. It's going to be tough for those guys to get going if Power has a good one. And then you got to go with the goalie, Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen. If he can't deal with the moment, then it's going to be a quick series because Alex Lyon's the backup, and I also don't trust Alex Lyon.
What do you got for us, Skaz, tonight?
Owen Power does scare me. Just what he can be on the ice is
great name, by the way.
Great name.
Owen
great
Power.
Hockey name.
Yeah.
But you guys mentioned Lindholm and guys that need to step up for the Bruins. But a guy I'm kind of looking at because I think he's not the same player he was when he played in the playoffs in the past, and that's Morgan Geekie, a guy that does have 37 games in the playoffs in his career, 10 or 11 with Carolina, and then he has 13 with Seattle and 13 with the Bruins. But he's played 37 games, and I have to imagine that most of those games were as a bottom six forward, grinding kind of, penalty kill, whatever, out there as a grinder for those teams. And now he's here in the Bruins, a couple years later, and he's 30, 40 goal scorer. They're going to need to rely on Morgan Geekie to put pucks in the net in the playoffs. Where are you guys on Morgan Geekie now that he has a legit role on this team and they need Morgan Geekie?
I think if you need Morgan Geekie, and I know he's your guy, Kevin, I know he loves you very much. If you need Morgan Geekie, you're in trouble. He's just too inconsistent for me.
Well, I'll turn my mic on there. Yeah, the inconsistency, absolutely. But you start. If it's a pendulum going back and forth, right? Well, he's on the goal scoring side, right? So does that help that he got hot towards the end of the year? But yeah, if you're leaning on Geekie to be that guy, we're looking at the flip of it. Could be a quick series on your end because if you're leaning on him and you're not getting production elsewhere, you don't want to be doing that. And I know I'm not trying, my guy, but not trying to be that brief on him.
617-779-0985. We have you from one more segment, Kevin?
Yeah, sure.
Can we make that happen?
Yeah.
I want to ask you about James Hagens.
Mm-hmm.
It's not totally confirmed that he's going to play game one, but it's pretty much confirmed that he's going to play game one. We'll get to that and the impact of him, that third line, what he's looked like so far, whether or not they waited too long to get him more experience based on how good I thought he looked in his first two appearances in the NHL. We'll get into all of that and your phone calls with Majori. It's a Bruins hockey playoff preview here on the Sports Hub. No Joe Murray tonight. It's McCarthy in for Joe. We're here until 11 o'clock. We're going all the way until 11, right? 11 tonight, not midnight. 11, good. Thumbs up to that. We'll continue. Quick update. Right back to you.
Essential Sports Hub headline presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
All right, Red Sox and the Tigers underway over at Fenway Park. It's a game on Apple TV, so I have no idea what's going on. Top of the second right now, no score. Ranger Suarez on the mound for Boston. Casey Mize. not officially in for game one, but Marco Sturm indicated today that he would, while no decision's been made, that it's probably going to be Hagens. I assume you like that. I mean, every Bruins fan wants James Hagens out there. I assume you, A, support that decision, correct?
Absolutely, yep.
B, what do you make of his potential impact in the playoffs, at least in this series?
Well, I mean, this series, I was kind of saying a bit like it's getting Buffalo, to me, on paper, was the best landing spot for them in terms of getting him into the lineup. I don't think Buffalo, and obviously Sturm thinks the same way as me, I don't think Buffalo is the most physical team compared to them. And I think he's going to have the ability to get in there. We saw the last couple of days. He won board battles that I was, even myself, knowing having watched a few of his college games this year, a few World Junior games, I knew that he wasn't afraid to get in and try to win board battles. I knew he'd get to the gritty areas, but I was kind of surprised at how successful he was at the NHL level early on, especially with his size. Nothing shows me that he's going to show up on Sunday night and not do that again. Not get in there, win a couple pucks in the corner, win a couple board battles. I was impressed with his first two games, and yeah, he wasn't lighting up the score sheet. Obviously, everybody was like, "Oh, he helped the second power play unit." Well, they didn't have any power plays the last two games, so we still have to see what happens there on the second power play. I'm sure we're going to get one. It's playoff hockey. There's going to be a lot of penalties, but I think he earned the spot in the roster for game one, and I think he's going to be. I think he's going to do perfectly fine there.
Do you like him with Minton and Hustadinov?
Right now, yes. I do get a little nervous about three young guys playing on the same line.
Yeah.
So we'll see how the first game goes. Especially, if Lindholm, Geekie, Pasternak is not good in the first game, there's changes to be made between those two lines. I think we start keeping the second line alone. If those guys struggle early on, especially mid-game, I wouldn't be surprised if maybe he's up on the first line with Lindholm and Pasternak, and you drop Geekie down to protect everybody. Give a veteran on that line. But I'm nervous about three, especially playoff rookies, on the same line to start a series.
Do you think it was always? I mean, he's going to play in this series. Do you think that was always the number one plan? Was this plan A for the Bruins? Because just the way they approached the end of the regular season with him, that indicated to me that it's like, well, he might not be in their playoff plans. Do you think this is matchup specific? Do you think it's because he looked good in his two games? Like, what do you think went into this decision?
I do think it was. This is just my belief. I don't know anything. I don't have any sources or anything. I do
stick to your day job.
Well, exactly. I got to stick to my day job. But I do feel that this was kind of a matchup specific thing. I honestly, if Tampa or Carolina was the opponent, I would not have been stunned if he at least didn't start the playoffs in the press box, because those teams are a lot more physical. They have more physical ability. Tampa, the level would be a lot higher. I'm not saying the Bruins and Buffalo don't have a rivalry. It's just been so long since there's been important games between these two teams that it feels like it's kind of dead right now. Maybe it comes back. The Bruins and Tampa, they still don't like each other. We had two goalies fighting in the middle of a football field this year. Those teams don't like each other. So the intensity of that series, if it was Bruins-Tampa, would have been a lot hotter from the start. And I don't know if Hagens would have been, if they would have been so willing to put him in with his inexperience and his size. So I think it was a bit of a matchup-specific thing that, okay, we got Buffalo. We feel that they're softer than us. Obviously, the coach has said that, and that it would be a good. It played good in those last two games. He's good to go to at least start game one.
I mean, you think they basically avoided the Tampa, and they did. They didn't put him out there against the Lightning on Saturday. You think that was 100% deliberate based on the matchup?
That was my belief. Last week, they obviously signed him on Thursday or Friday. I think they sent him Wednesday. They had a couple days off. And then they were like, he's not playing Saturday. You got to get used to the system. My personal belief was that game did not mean a lot to Tampa. They were pretty much locked into the 2 or 3. I don't think Tampa cares where game 1 is. I think they know they can beat Montreal, whether game 7, if there is one, is at Bell Center or whatever the name of their arena is now. I think the Bruins maybe had a little bit of a fear of, if he plays his first game against Tampa, we need to win this game. And they didn't, but we need to win this game. If he gets out there and whether it's Kucherov or one of their big defensemen or somebody like Zemgus Girgensons, Nick Paul, somebody in that bottom 6 lights Hagens up early on, one of the Bruins veterans, especially a Jeannot, a Kaslik, a Zadorov, could be going after somebody on Tampa, and this game could get out of hand. It could turn into kind of what we saw in February at the Stadium Series. My personal belief was that they just were like, we're going to play him on Sunday. We're not playing him against Tampa. We need to win, and we don't want this game to get out of hand and get wacky because somebody throws a high late hit or even a clean big hit, but it's a young guy, and the Bruins feel the need to protect their guy. So I think they held him back. That's just, again, my personal opinion. They held him back. That's where I kind of sit there and say, they got Buffalo. Buffalo's not the most physical team. It's a pretty
Clearly,
good spot.
as Sturm said today.
Yeah, clearly, at least the coach believes that. Maybe the front office believes that. I think, to me, again, it was more matchup specific. We got Buffalo. He played good those last 2 games. He gets the spot line. He gets the spot game 1. Maybe give him game 2. If he's bad in those first 2 games, see you later.
So he's played well in his first 2 games. I think everybody would agree with that. Did they wait too long to get him up here? Should there have been more experience, more opportunity for Hagens, up until this point, given he has played well? Would you feel a little bit better about him if he had 5 games under his belt than he had 2 games? I mean, does it really matter, or is it, well, he's the best guy they have of the group of 4 potential left wings on that third line. You just put him in there, whether he's played 2 games, 5 games, doesn't matter.
I would have liked to have seen him play a couple more games. And then again, it goes into, you think of the 2 games. Before the 2 games they played, it was Tampa and it was Carolina, the 2 teams that I figured they might avoid. And the prior Sunday to that was Philadelphia. I do think, again, personally, that there probably should have been a little bit more NHL experience for him before going into the playoffs. But you look and you say, McAvoy didn't play any regular season games. McAvoy played a couple games in Providence, and then game 1 of the playoffs, boom, he's in. So maybe they felt that they needed him to play more games in Providence, needed to earn it, show that he was earning it, and I watched him play 1 period live in Providence. Other than that, it was highlights. I thought he looked fine. Some people were, he didn't look fine. I thought maybe he was a little bit over-seasoned in terms of having 6 games in Providence. I would have liked to have seen more NHL games, but trying to go through my brain and go back, take out before those last 2 games, it was Tampa, it was Carolina, it was Philly, it was Tampa. Did they look and say, well, right. I don't know. I just feel like they were kind of trying to protect him from
the bigger, heavier teams
right away. And look, if they play against Buffalo, he has a good series, and they get to Tampa, well, you got to put him in there anyway. It doesn't matter at that point. He's got more experience. But maybe it was protecting him right now, the bigger physical guys. You get him actual NHL experience. Now you get him probably playoff experience. And you tell him, hey, this is what we're looking for this summer. He's already put on more weight from when he was drafted. Bulk up a little bit more this summer. We expect you to be there next year. Right? So I do think they were kind of protecting him. This is, again, my personal opinion, physically.
Fair to say you think they got the best matchup possible in the first round?
Yeah. I think
pretty
so.
Obvious, right?
Yeah, I mean, Tampa or Carolina would have, in my opinion, would have been 5. Although, 4 years ago, Carolina smoked you 3 times, and you pushed them in the regular season, and you pushed them to 7 games.
A different roster, though.
Yeah, a lot more veterans there. Way more veterans on that team. The 2 teams that I think they could have competed with were Buffalo and Montreal. And I think Montreal, I probably would have been a little more confident in the 7-game win for Montreal. I think their overall high-end talent is better than Buffalo's. But Buffalo or Montreal would have been better, and ultimately, to me, they got the easiest, in my opinion, first round opponent.
So you're still taking Buffalo, though?
I'm still going Buffalo in 7. I am a very negative person. People maybe don't see that from me.
You're a real prick, Majority.
I've also spent 4.5 years now with 2 to 6. So if I was
seep into you, man.
If I had any shred or any piece of positivity left in me,
it's gone. No,
it's gone.
Away from you.
We saw earlier this year when I was upset with somebody celebrating or team celebrating 400 goals. So it could just be the negativity in my brain, but I do have a couple of question marks going in on the Bruins, and I do think they'll push it to 7, but ultimately that home ice, I know people, home ice may or may not be. I think Buffalo's home ice at KeyBank Arena, Game 7 will be the difference maker, and it's a one and done.
Give me the Bruins in 7.
All right.
Bruins in 7. I like Jeremy Swayman in this series. Better goalie. Sometimes Game 7 at home is not a good thing. You get down 1-0, that place is going to get real tight, real fast for a team that does not have a lot of experience. If there's one thing the Bruins have a lot of experience in, it's Game 7.
Oh, my God.
I mean, how many Game 7s of these guys played?
That's why I'm just like, I know it's going 7. It's going 7 games. They always make us sit through at least one 7-game series. It's going to be this.
Well,
it's going 7.
Should be good. Majority.
Yeah.
Thanks, seriously, for bringing your expertise. It's been awesome to have you on, and enjoy the playoffs, man. This was no guarantee. This was not a foregone conclusion they were going to be here. This should be a really compelling series. I'm getting fired up for Sunday. So, yeah. And you only made me more fired up.
All right. Well, I'm happy you had me on, and I am happy. I briefly, I'll say that I don't really fully feel it yet, because I don't think there's really a rivalry with Buffalo, but I just know 5 minutes into Game 1, somebody's going to piss me off, and I'm going to be fired up.
Isn't that the beauty of Stanley Cup hockey?
Playoff
7
hockey.
games, and there are 3 guys by the end of the series that you just hate. A good old-fashioned hatred. Sports hatred. It's good as a fan.
And then you're looking to see when that guy's a free agent so he can come join your team because you love his playoff ability.
That's true. Majority. Seriously, thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
We're going to get to a Celtics playoff preview at 8 o'clock tonight. Skaz is here. I'm here. McCarthy in for Joe. 617-779-0985. We'll continue all the way until 11 o'clock tonight on The Joe Show.
Don't go anywhere. There's more Joe Murray. On the way on 98.5.
good back there?
All good.
Copacetic?
Shout out Kevin Majori. All good back here, as usual. It's a Friday night, McCarthy. Glad you're alongside. Happy to be here with you. We've had a couple people call in and ask, where the hell are the Red Sox? So that explains pretty much how it's going back here.
That's a good start. How are the Red Sox doing? The answer is, I don't know, because I don't have it on in studio because it's a friggin' Apple TV game again. Although, did I hear this is the only scheduled Apple TV game this year?
For the Sox?
For the Red Sox?
That would be nice.
I find that hard to believe. I don't know how far Apple TV schedules out in advance, but no, this is a real problem for baseball. Friday night, Sox back home, and the only way to really legitimately watch it, unless for some reason you have Apple TV. Who really does have Apple TV, by the way? I feel like it's the only streaming service that people don't have. You can't get it. And wait, do you need because I'm not paying for it. I'm not doing this I love the Red Sox. I'm not doing this for 3 nights a year, 5 nights a year, whatever it is. If I didn't get it for the clincher last year, I'm sure as hell not getting it for Friday night in April when the team sucks and they're a terrible product to watch. I'm certainly not paying my hard-earned money, my whatever it costs, $12.99 a month, to watch them. But yeah, this is that's the way it is.
It does appear this is their only scheduled Apple TV game as of today.
Okay, but how far out in advance does Apple TV schedule?
Looks like June right now.
That's going to change. They got 2 or 3 more coming this year. Well, we'll keep you posted, I guess. I've got MLB Game Day on up in the studio, so that's exciting. Nothing like watching the little pitch thing come into the box and 1, 2, 3, and that's a real compelling way to watch the sport. Although, it's how young people consume it. The Millikins of the world, they're all out there. They don't need to see it on TV. You got the little box telling you where everything goes. Red Sox currently held to 1 hit. Got a good old-fashioned pitcher's duel over at Fenway Park. 617-779-0985. We also have this. I don't know if you saw this, Gaz. Now, Joe would say that this might be smelly. That might be a Joe Murray thing to do. Jimmy Stewart an hour ago. I'm not telling you it's happening. I'm just saying, don't be surprised. What could that be? Maybe Giannis? Maybe radio gossip? A lot of radio gossip going around today. I read my mutt stack like everybody else. Maybe that's that. Maybe it's WrestleMania.
That feels WrestleMania coded, but you never know with Jay Stu.
What would that be for WrestleMania? You're asking the wrong guy. We should get a report from Joe Murray, live on the scene. Is WrestleMania in Vegas this year?
It is in Vegas this year. Joe Murray is there. He's already posted pictures of pizza in Vegas, so he's out on the town already.
I will say, best meal I've had in the last year and a half. Vegas, a couple months ago, Super Bowl weekend. Terrible place to be, I will say. Super Bowl weekend, I did not want to be there. Wanted to be here in Boston for that, but I did eat well. You can eat well in that town, be it a good meal, be it a late night In-N-Out. Although, it was 3 a.m. and I wanted In-N-Out, and In-N-Out closed. That was a problem. Then I said, all right, well, I'll go to Johnny Rockets. Johnny Rockets also closed at 3 a.m. Like, why did I come here? This is Super Bowl Sunday. I'm drunk and I'm angry because Drake May sucked and the Patriots sucked. And I couldn't at 3 a.m. get In-N-Out. It's a tragedy. Couldn't get Johnny Rockets either. It's a real problem. Real issues. Like, what's happened to this town? What's going on here? We don't have to go to Vegas now because we can gamble wherever we want. But that was a real decline. It's like, what happened to this world? Society is declining when I can't get my 3 a.m. In-N-Out. Get those fries well done. So we'll see. I'm not telling you it's happening. I'm just saying, don't be surprised. We'll do some digging. Get to the bottom of that. Investigative reporting. It happens all the time on this show. Joe, nobody gets to the bottom of things more than Joe Murray.
Has to.
It's his job. He's the man. So we hope Joe's having a great time at WrestleMania this weekend with the Wong father and Sarge. The great Kevin Marston, I hear, is out there as well. So very excited for them to enjoy all that Las Vegas has to offer. 617-779-0985. We've done the Bruins. Let's do the Celtics. Get a Celtics playoff preview. Brian Robb's going to join us here in the 8 o'clock hour. But Celtics-Sixers. I've seen this story before. Confidence, I feel. I'll explain. 90 seconds, no commercials.
Dutcher and Hardy, Owen Beetle, Felger and Mass, the Bruins, the Celtics, the Pats, the Revolution. This is Boston's home for sports. WBC FM at HD Boston, 98.5 The Sports Hub, a Beasley Media Group station. Sports Hub headlines, presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
Hey, the Red Sox are playing. Nobody can see it because it's on Apple TV. Thank you, baseball. But it's scoreless as we head to the bottom of the fourth. Just one hit so far for Boston. That from Connor Wong, who's back in the lineup again tonight. Ranger Suarez, meanwhile, through 4 scoreless innings, he's held the Tigers to just 2 hits. Elsewhere around baseball, Padres, they're being sold a record $3.9 billion to venture capitalist private equity guy Jose Feliciano. That according to the Wall Street Journal. Bruins opening up the playoffs on Sunday at Buffalo. 7:30 puck drop for that game. Games 3 and 4 will be in Boston. Thursday night at 7, Sunday the 26th at 2 p.m. The Texans and All-Pro defensive end Will Anderson Jr. have agreed to a record-setting $150 million contract extension over 3 years. Jacoby Brissett wants a new deal. He's not attending the phase 1 of the offseason program with the Cardinals. He's asking for an extension that pays him as the starter. The Athletic reporting that Cavaliers will consider trading Donovan Mitchell as he declines to sign an extension this offseason. And Doc Rivers has announced his retirement from coaching. Headlines are brought to you by Super Service Today. Upgrade your home with an electric heat pump system from Super Service Today to stay cool this summer, warm all winter, and save on energy costs while reducing your carbon footprint. For a free estimate, visit superservicetoday.com. I'm Matt McCarthy in Boston's Home for Sports. 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update, 30 minutes.
This is what happens when analysts take over the game, take over the sport.
This is where you talk sports.
It happens all the time.
The Sports Hub.
See, I think the Knicks have a better chance of beating the Celtics, and the Detroit Pistons have a better chance of beating the Knicks. That's how I view it. I think the kryptonite for the New York Knicks can be the Detroit Pistons. Boston just seems to me to methodically go about the business of being the Boston Celtics. Last year was an aberration. We won't let that happen again this year. We'll get them this year. That's Boston. Detroit is like one of those teams that gives you the impression that they could be en route to a championship. And if the New York Knicks gets bounced out, they're going to be pissed off because we want them. We want them bad. We want the Knicks. You know, they want them. And that is why I look at the Detroit as being the biggest Achilles heel to the New York Knicks. Whereas with the Celtics, it's the Knicks that's in their way because the Knicks already beat them before. And because of the methodical approach that the Boston Celtics have, they'll beat anybody that you put in front of them. They're like the Knicks are just the latest victim. Detroit wants the Knicks. Boston don't care who it is. We just gonna beat them because we're better than you. That's Boston's mentality, which is why I think is a difference.
And that should be the Celtics mentality. Stephen A. Smith on the Eastern Conference playoff pictures. Yep. No matter who you put in front of them, they should win the East. That is my expectation. The Celtics should win the Eastern Conference, and it should be your expectation too. Yes, they're coming off, a year where, Jason Tatum obviously coming off the torn Achilles, but make no mistake about it. They should be the favorite. They are the best team in the Eastern Conference, and don't let last year cloud your vision, cloud your judgment about the Knicks or anybody else in the East. Last year was about the Celtics not taking themselves seriously, not changing their approach in the playoffs, being too stubborn to a fault in that Knicks series. And if they fall between now and the NBA Finals, it will be their doing. It will not be the doing of the competition, the Eastern Conference. I feel the exact same way this year as I felt last year. How do you feel about it? 617-779-0985. You know what I did not hear mentioned in there, Skaz? 1 single second on the Philadelphia 76ers. Should we spend a single second on the Philadelphia 76ers? Now, out of a sense of obligation, I will say yes, because I guess we have a series coming up between the Celtics and the Sixers, but how much does this have to do with anything in the Eastern Conference playoff picture?
Yeah, I would. I mean, if you're a Celtics fan, you would hope very, very minimal. The Philadelphia 76ers are not a, legitimate candidate to upset the Celtics. I don't think. I would be shocked I think they have a player in Tyrese Maxey who can win a game. I don't think they have a player that can win a series, and that's kind of what you need in the NBA. Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown are winning playoff series type players. We all know that. We've seen it for almost coming up on a decade now. That's how long they've been doing this, crazily enough. And they do. I mean, Stephen A. Smith kind of puts it matter of fact there, but that's how the Celtics handle business most of the time. They pretty much, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown have walked into the Eastern Conference almost every year of their career, and maybe it gets taken a little for granted because they do that. But yeah, I look at that 76ers team, and Andre Drummond's playing 31 minutes a night, and I dropped this one on the show this week, but Matt McCarthy, did you know Andre Drummond is a full year younger than Aaron Judge?
What?
Yes. Full calendar year younger.
No. Drummond is 45 years old.
Andre Drummond is 32 years old.
There's not a chance.
I know.
That's like the reverse Cuban birth certificate,
yes.
Right? That's like the reverse Almond.
He's just been around forever, getting rebounds and looking slow. But now he shoots 3-pointers. I think he went like 4 of 5 the other night. So they start a guy named Adem Bona. He might play 15, 20 minutes. He's a fine guy to battle with Keita, but he's not a threat to do anything. And yeah, outside of Maxey and Edgecombe, I mean, are you worried about the corpse of Paul George?
No, not one bit.
Kelly Oubre, the wave poppy, he doesn't put any fear into you.
Brandon in Boston, very passionate about Kelly Oubre.
Yes, he was a big.
Send out the Brandon in Boston bat signal.
He's still trying to trade to get Jeff Green back, I think. So yeah. And Nick Nurse, like fine coach in that league. I mean, I would put him in the upper half of that league, which isn't saying a ton. He's probably a top 15 coach in the NBA. Congrats, but the Celtics have a top 5 coach in the NBA. So better roster, better coach, home court, more playoff experience. Like, it's kind of boring for us, Matt, but I think if this is anything other than a 5-game series, something has gone terribly wrong.
I have seen this story before. It is still the Philadelphia 76ers. The last time the 76ers beat the Celtics was 1982. I'm not even sure if they had electricity in 1982. It was that long ago. I don't think any of us have ever met anybody who was born before 1982, for Christ's sakes. That's how long ago it was that the Celtics and the 76ers met, and the Sixers won a playoff series. Beat LA so long ago. Were they still doing NBA games on tape delay in 1982? I think they were. Were the NBA Finals still on tape delay in 1982? They may have been. I'm not joking about that. That's how long ago it may have been. No, I do not take the Sixers seriously. Although I will say this. Are they better without Joel Embiid?
They're probably better without this version of Joel Embiid because they do run. Maxey is there's really no one to compare him to in the league. He's a much more polished De'Aaron Fox. Like, that's how fast he plays. He averages 28 points a game. I know scoring is inflated these days, but 28 points per game is still nothing to sneeze at. He is a legit top option scorer in the league, but. Yeah, Joel Embiid, I mean, appendicitis, you almost have to laugh. Like, it's sad because, like, the guy just literally can't catch a break. He's getting appendicitis a week before the playoffs. Like, that is the story of his Philadelphia 76ers career. But, yeah, they might be a little bit. I think they're a more athletic team without Joel Embiid.
Maxey scares me more than Embiid would.
Yes, I would agree with that.
A team built around Maxey, to your point, a team that can run. I don't know. I've seen the Embiid experience before. Embiid's going to put up his numbers, but he's not a winning basketball player, and he's never been a winning basketball player. So I'm not saying that this changes the series, and tilts it in Philadelphia's favor. It doesn't. I do just think, though, that their style of play without Embiid might be slightly more challenging to the Celtics. Is that a fair thing to say?
Yeah, I think it is a fair thing to say because by all metrics, if you really get into the weeds of pace and points per possession and all that stuff, and not necessarily points, but pace and stuff like that, shots per game, the Celtics are around dead last in the league. And depending on the metric you look at, Philadelphia is between 13 and 15. So, maybe that's how they try and attack the Celtics. Maybe that's what Nick Nurse does. He says, hey, Neemias Queta, Jason Tatum still recovering. Jaylen Brown is not exactly at his best when he's operating at full speed.
Right.
We've all seen that in the past. Let's speed him up.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can speed these guys up. And I think the only problem you run into with that is if you're the 76ers, if that becomes a shootout and you're trying to outscore the Celtics, I don't think that's a battle you're going to win against a Joe Mazzulla offense. And the other thing, too, is I look at that 76ers team. They don't have a single guy that plays defense.
No.
Not a single guy. So that's a tough rest. Like, if they were playing the Magic, I think the Celtics would go with a shorter bench. You might not see Ugo. You might not see so much Shireman, even though I think that's a decent matchup for him. But I think against the 76ers, you're going to see Ugo. You're going to see Walsh. Like, it's going to save Tatum some minutes. So I think, even more so than the Bruins, this broke very favorably for the Celtics.
No, it's a good matchup for them for sure. Not that they wouldn't have a good matchup in the first round. It's the NBA. First round playoff series are generally worthless. This will also be worthless. Now, Knicks Celtics second round, that is beyond compelling, especially with the way that everything went down last year. I do think it's interesting, though, the rotation, Skaz. Mazzulla has been lights out with his rotations this year. They've been excellent. The way he's managed this roster and gotten so much out of guys off the bench that I don't think any of us would have seen coming at the beginning of the year. I think he deserves a ton of credit for that. I do wonder how that carries over to the postseason, though. He's had such a good feel for it all year long. But Joe Mazzulla's greatest weakness as a coach is his stubbornness, which we saw last year. It actively cost the Celtics in that Knicks series when he was committed to this is how we play. We shoot the three. This is our style. This is what got us here. This is the only way to do it. We're going to win doing this way, and it's impossible for us to lose doing it this way. When it was apparent to everybody after watching those first two games that they needed to adjust, they chose not to adjust because, well, that's how they did it. Is he more flexible this year? Is he more willing to? And I think the bench is a really good, litmus test for that, because you might go into a playoff series and say, 8-man rotation, this is what we do. This is how we're doing it. Well, do you want to do that? Are you going to be flexible in this series and then approach the next series differently? He wasn't capable of that last year. Let's see if there's growth from him this year.
Yeah, I think it's a really good point because Mazzulla has shown, I think this season the discussion has been, the offense is more tailored to Jaylen Brown and that kind of thing. And I push back a little on that because I think it's more about the roster as a whole. And I do think he was stubborn last year, and I do think their style of play was, part of their Achilles heel that took them down. I do think even if Tatum doesn't get hurt, they still lose that series. That's just how they were playing at the time. And the Knicks were playing well. But this year, I think it's more about you look at last year's roster and you see Porzingis and Holiday and Al Horford and all the shooters they had. And then you look at this year's roster and it's Baylor Shireman. It's Luka Garza. It's Peyton Pritchard back in that 6-man role. It's Ugo Gonzalez, Jordan Walsh, Sam Hauser's, had a good season. But I think he's been able to kind of rein it in and look at the players he has on the roster and their strengths and kind of coddle it more to them. So you hope that continues through the playoffs. I think the 76ers are a good matchup for us to see that. I think if it was the Magic or, maybe New York, a team that tightens it up more defensively, maybe they fall back into that shooting threes, but it's definitely something I'll be watching closely in the first half. I'm interested to see what B-Rob says about their offensive philosophy, going into the playoffs.
Let's ask B-Rob that next. He's going to join the program. Matt McCarthy in for Joe Murray. We'll continue.
You're listening to Joe Murray on 98.5. You're listening to Joe Murray on 98.
sports weekends in Boston, one of the great sports weeks. When you get the Bruins and the Celtics in it, Marathon Monday, Red Sox at home, marathon being run. It's NFL draft. This is a good time. Good time to be in this business, that's for sure. A man who's been in the business for quite some time. Our buddy, Brian Robb of Mass Live, and of course the Sports Hub Celtics show on Saturdays, joining us on the Volkswagen Dealers Expert Hotline. Happy playoffs, B-Rob.
Nothing better. Even though they got to figure out this doubling up the Bruins and the Celtics on the same night situation. There's far too much of that in the first round.
I'll tell you what, I put so much of that on the NHL. The NBA is notorious for, they're more than happy to put 4 days in between games in the first round if, they think it's going to be the best potential TV window. It's amazing how the NHL just doesn't seem to care about this. This is way more on hockey than it is on basketball.
Yeah, I agree with that. So, this is, and the Bruins, they didn't even know when they were playing until late last night when it's 3 days out. NHL's got to clean it up.
The NHL is the NHL. They think they're the only game in town because, I guess they are the only game in town in a lot of places that don't matter. But places like here where it matters, we get Bruins and Celtics doubling up. So, I guess I'll just ask you this. More compelling first-round matchup, Bruins or Celtics?
I would imagine the Bruins.
Yeah,
I don't think the Celtics. I like the fact that the Celtics are playing the Sixers from a standpoint of the atmosphere will be a lot better in Philly than it would have been in Orlando, given how bad that team looked. But with Embiid looking like he's going to be out of the equation here, I don't think this is going to be much of a series. I think this is an ideal path for the Celtics for round one to kind of warm things up before the things heat up in round 2 against assumably the Knicks here.
So we were just talking a few minutes ago about, the Embiid factor, him being out. Does this mean that the Sixers are going to run more? Is there any concern there? It certainly doesn't sound like there's any concern for you. You think this series should be done, with relative ease, as do I. But I do think Maxey kind of leading the way is I don't want to say maybe better for the Sixers, but your thoughts on that, B-Rob?
Yeah, you're 100% right. It's they're going to play fast. That's the advantage of not having Embiid is we've seen Embiid enough in the playoffs to know what he looks like in the third and fourth quarter of these games, where he can't get out to the perimeter and chase down 3-point shooters. So they'll be able to it's Maxey's show. The dude he averages 38 minutes a game in the regular season, which led the league. I imagine he's going to be on the floor for 43, 44.
Right.
During the playoffs here. And he's a tough cover. But smaller guards that are super athletic have been the problem for the Celtics in the past, even with this personnel here. Now they have the good news for the Celtics is I think you have more guys to throw at them this year with the emergence of these younger wings on the bench. I expect Jordan Walsh, I thought did a pretty good job guarding Maxey in one of these games against Philly this year. So I expect him to have a pretty big role off the bench doing that. But it's, the Celtics have a pretty well-rounded defense, and they have 4 guys that can kind of switch on Maxey when they're on the floor. And so who's going to beat you if you make sure that Maxey isn't going for 40 points? Edgecombe, Paul George at 35. I think you like the Celtics odds against those guys, especially when you have a bunch of guys offensively at the Sixers really don't have an answer for.
So wait a minute, Paul George is 35, which means he's 3 years older than Andre Drummond, as I just found out. Did you have any idea that Andre Drummond is only 32 years old?
I do, because we probably saw the same tweet. My buddies were sending a text message out today with, I don't know if that was the graphic in one of the tweets that Drummond is 32, being one of my 39-year-old buddies being this is so depressing that I'm 7 years old and Andre Drummond.
Nothing will make you feel worse. That's for sure. How do you expect Joe Mazzulla to handle his rotations in this series?
I think we're going to see a lot of how he kind of ended up the last 2 or 3 weeks of the season. I expect 9 guys to play tops. I think Jordan Walsh and Shireman are going to be the wings off the bench. Just Walsh for the defense, and Shireman just played well enough in the last 2 or 3 months of the year where I think he earned a lot of trust from Joe and the veterans on this team to be able to hit threes, to rebound a little bit, to guard in certain matchups. I think Maxey is a tough matchup for Shireman, so maybe if he struggles and Walsh struggles, you get a shot from Ugo in that role. But I think it's going to be, Pritchard off the bench, Shireman, Walsh, and then the Vooch versus Garza situation will be a fascinating subplot that probably won't matter in this series because it's not going to be too close, but Vooch is going to get first crack is my guess based on how Joe handled the minutes when he got back. And then it'll just be a matter of, okay, is he hitting enough shots to validate him staying on the floor out there? Or if not, then, you go back to Garza because Garza's played surprisingly well when he's had chances in the last couple months of the year. Or, I don't know, Matt, they have the prospect of they can kind of go small at the 5 here with Tatum, especially if Vita out there. I wouldn't be stunned if Maxey's killing them in the pick and roll against all those guys, then I wouldn't be surprised if you can just go Tatum at the 5 and then you can just switch everywhere.
No, it's true. That's where the Embiid factor really does make a difference for the Celtics. Do you think Mazzulla is going to be open-minded on his second big, or is it just going to be, Vucevic because they traded for him for that reason and, fully committed to that idea?
I think Vooch is going to get the first crack at it and probably get a pretty long leash, at least in the first round, since Dave – he was getting a little bit of a rhythm before he got hurt when Tatum came back. And then it was clear last week that, they were committed to that, even though Garza had played really well when Vooch was recovering from that finger injury. So he has, the proven track record of being a veteran in this league, of being a little more offensively diverse. But I do hope, Matt, that we saw last year, I think with Porzingis, is that one of, Joe's flaws, at least in last year's playoffs, I thought, was sticking with Porzingis far too long.
Yeah.
And being a little too loyal to a veteran when he really wasn't giving the team anything on the floor. And obviously we don't know why now with the illness situation. So this team has performed well all year without Vooch, with a bunch of different guys in that backup center role. So if he's just not hitting shots out there and not contributing a bunch during these games, I think it makes sense to at least see what you have in Garza, or maybe even just play smaller and you can play more of these wings and against a team like Philly that's not really going to burn you with a big man down low. So I think that is going to be one of the biggest subplots in my mind of the series, is how much Mazzulla adapts when he needs to adapt with this roster, knowing that it's, I think, a little more deeper last year. And obviously there's a lot more unproven parts up and down the bench at this point than you've had in years past.
How much does Mazzulla have to prove coming off of last year's exit against the Knicks?
I think it's not a ton, but I think it's a fair amount just in terms of how that series went against the Knicks. Was those first 2 games were just brutal in terms of how they lost. And that's not all on him by any means. Really bad 3-point shooting, not good decision-making by the players down a lot of the stretch of those games, but the way they didn't get a shot off in both of those situations down the stretch, and just how, the Hacker Robinson stuff that put the team into the penalty that came back to bite them in one of those losses too. So it is something now when you look at that in the management, he's obviously, this year was always going to be the most fascinating year for Joe Mazzulla in my eyes, because he kind of came into a ready-made contender for the last 3 years. And now this season, he can kind of really put a stamp on this team with expectations being in a whole different place with Tatum out. And he's been phenomenal. This has been, if he doesn't win Coach of the Year, he should. The expectations have been surpassed so much for this group. But now, the playoffs are a different animal. And what works in the regular season sometimes does not translate here. So he's done, I think, a pretty good job all year long of adapting from past seasons and, getting guys ready to play up and down the roster all year long, maximizing what they're getting out of Jaylen Brown and Peyton Pritchard. And obviously we've seen the growth of guys like Kata all year long, but you're ultimately judged on what your team does in the playoffs if you're a contender, and that's what this team is right now. And so I think I don't expect it to be a big factor in this first round, but the deeper we go when you're facing the Knicks or the Pistons down the line, the Celtics are going to be favored in those series, and coaching is going to matter in those matchups, and Mazzulla should have the edge on paper, but that's something this team might need if they want to get to the finals.
Yeah, and just while we're on Missoula and kind of last year and their failures against the Knicks, you mentioned the lineups you expect them to go with. I would agree, but their offensive philosophy has been kind of I don't want to call it a hot button topic, but it kind of has been around here from the 3-point philosophy and then kind of toning it down this year. Now that Tatum's back, we've seen Vucevic obviously shoot threes, Garza will shoot a couple. We even got Keita shooting one the other night. What do you think their offensive philosophy is going to be, in this playoffs? And do you think it will be a little more reined in than we've seen in years past?
I think it will, Skaz. I think that's one of the pluses of how this year has gone. They've diversified the offense more. Their 3-point attempts per game has gone down by 12% from like 48 to 42 per game. They're still hitting them at a high clip. They're 8th in the league there, but that's a pretty big deal. And they're also leading a ton into the offensive rebounding. And that is a way, like, that's something that they didn't necessarily have the personnel to do work with last year. Like, Al Horford is not a big offensive rebounder. Like Porzingis, those guys lived on the perimeter. This season, you've got, like Nimi, you've got guys like wings like Shireman, Walsh, like those guys crash well. And then guys within, like Jaylen Brown's rebounding great this year. Tatum obviously has been a monster on the glass. So the fact is that sets you up better to deal with the swings of, like, if you have a terrible shooting night in a 7-game series. Like, you can't afford to, even if they're wide open looks, you can't afford to just shoot terribly in 2 straight games, particularly at home. And that's what happened last year against the Knicks. And now this year, like, if the 3-point shots are there, don't get me wrong, they're going to take them, and I expect them to be there a lot the way the Sixers defend. The Sixers try to take away the rim from you, so the 3-point shots are going to be open. But there are going to be, I think, a bigger emphasis to be like, okay, let's get to the line with Jaylen. Let's make sure we're finding the best look possible, make the extra pass, get to the rim if you're, drive out some of these closeouts, so you're not essentially living and dying at the 3-point line, which happened a little bit too much, as we saw in last year's postseason, it seemed like.
Brian Robb from Mass Live joining us on the Volkswagen Dealers Expert Hotline. I was going to ask you about this 8th seed game in the Eastern Conference. The Magic are up by 24 in that game, so I guess I won't ask you about that at all.
I didn't pull that up there.
Just yet another NBA play-in. Hooray moment there. That's, all right.
The other games have been pretty good.
Yeah. True.
Some of them, like the Warriors Clippers one, that was a phenomenal game. The Hornets Heat game was crazy. But yeah, this is why I'm happy we're not seeing the Magic in the first round, because you get a lot of low scoring games like this.
Did the Celtics get their best potential matchup in the first round with the Sixers?
I think so. I think like Orlando, they've been a mess this year, but talent wise across the board, like they have a lot tougher defenders than Philly does. Like Maxey is great, but he's small. Like, and Celtics are gonna pick on him. And then Kelly Oubre, Paul George, like these guys are just not great defenders at this point in their career. And we saw last year, like Orlando, they can't score much, but they have guys that they're physical. They make you work. They can rebound, and you put all that together, and they played together for a while. So I think for the Celtics to get out of a first round without, getting beaten up. And that's what happened last year. Jaylen was already beaten up entering the playoffs, and then Tatum missed a game with the wrist injury, and which is a rarity for him. And he was obviously dealing with that for the rest of the playoffs before the Achilles tear happened. So I think this is, with Embiid not out there, this is as good as you can hope for. Like you're dealing with what, Andre Drummond, 32-year-old. I assume he's actually 38 years old, but he's 32 years old at this point. And like Adam Bona is like, those are your big men you're going up against. Like that's a pretty good place to be. And when you're dealing with an unproven front court for the postseason with Keita and Vooch and Garza at this point.
Where does the front court rank among your bigger concerns for the Celtics entering the playoffs? And what is your biggest concern for the Celtics entering the playoffs?
Yeah, I would put it at the front court. Nimi has been just his growth throughout the season.
It's remarkable.
It's kind of like going back and looking at, like, they played the Sixers 3 times in the first month of the season, Matt, and you go back and watch those games, and Cade is like a different guy now in terms of what he can do offensively, his finishing around the basket, his ability to, not go for bad dumb blocks and just like stay disciplined while providing good rim protection. And so, again, we don't know what he looks like in the playoffs yet. So it's still, there's a prove it factor with him regardless of how far he's come. So that will be on the forefront. And then the backup center situation is legitimate. Like Vooch, no matter if you play Vooch or Garza, like both of those guys are not reliable defenders in a pick and roll. Like if they're going to go against any top scorer like Maxey or Brunson and company, they're going to be picked on in that front. So can the Celtics get away with that with these guys for 10, 15 minutes per game? Or are they just going to play them when those other top scorers are off the floor? Or are they going to, show some leaks defensively? Because in past years, that's been an area where they've had pretty reliable defenders, whether it's Horford or Cornette last year. So I think that's the main thing. I don't think it's really going to factor in too much for this round, assuming that Maxey doesn't go crazy in these games. But if they don't get out of the conference semifinals against the Knicks or out of the conference finals against the Pistons, like those are, I think front court will probably be at the top of the list because both of those teams have legit size up there and guys who can score in a hurry. And so that's going to test those guys without a doubt.
B-Rob, before I let you go, who's the Celtics' legitimate number one option entering these playoffs? Is it Brown or Tatum?
I think it's Brown.
Yeah.
I think honestly it'll probably depend on the night and the matchup to some degree. But if you're gonna, who's gonna score more points per game in the playoffs, who's gonna be more efficient, I think it's gonna be Brown. Tatum's come a long way in his 16 games back, and has shot a lot more efficiently in the last 7 or 8 games. But his 3-point shot is still not all the way back. He's not getting to the line as much as he used to. Again, that should continue to come along as we get through the playoffs. But I think there's a reality there that he knows himself. That like, listen, I'm not all the way back here, and I'm still probably going to be. I expect the interesting to me, Matt, like who is our team or other teams going to treat Tatum still like the number one guy?
Right.
Is he going to see the toughest defender, or does that guy go to Brown and then Tatum can take advantage of it? So that sort of chess match will be interesting to see. But for now, it's definitely Brown. Whether it evolves as we get deeper into the playoffs and Tatum just is in a better spot physically, that I think very much remains to be seen. And if it does turn to Tatum, I think that's a very good sign and probably a sign that this team is going to go to the finals.
Well, this Sixers team notoriously excellent defensively, so I'm sure they'll really be able to test, Brown and Tatum. And we'll get the answer right away, as we always do in the first round of the NBA. You get the answer right away as to how teams are going to treat Brown and Tatum. It's just, it's. Can we just fast forward to the second round, please? That's when things really get
second
good.
Round, though.
Yeah.
We'll get 3 good series this round. Like that's at least even when they won the finals in 2024, it felt like that was a cakewalk all the way to the finals.
Yeah.
In terms of person, like this year, it's like you get through this series, the next that's going to be not a coin flip series, but pretty close to it. That could be the toughest series, and then whether it's the Pistons or the Cavs after that, if the Celtics get through there, those are 2 legit teams as well. So it should be fun this year. But yeah, this is a nice little warm up for the first round for this group.
All right, B-Rob, we'll be reading you. Sports Hub Celtics show tomorrow, yes?
Yeah, we got full force in effect, so it'll be fun.
Oh, how about that? That does not happen. We get so many Bruins matinee games. But no, it's because the NHL decided that they need to have the Bruins and the Celtics playing on the same day every single day. That's why you get the Sunday experience. Sunday, 7:30. Ugh.
Come on.
Anyway, well, I'm just saying that because I'm in Hopkinton Monday morning. So, I'm just that's a me problem. I have to show up for the morning.
That's right.
Show.
You're doing mornings next week?
Yeah, a couple days next week. I'll be in Hopkinton
Excellent.
with Rochi at the starting line. So I'm sure that's a real easy place to get to Monday morning.
Yeah. Good luck on what's going to be your departure time?
I haven't even thought about it yet.
After the show tonight.
Yeah, no, really. That's have not.
I'll see if I have a buddy in Hopkinton. I'll see if you can crash on his couch for me. That would be the best.
Much appreciated. Just walk it over. It's going to be a great time when I'm there. I'm very much looking forward to it. I've never done the marathon start line. I've done the finish line. Haven't done the start line. That'll be fun. But I'm not happy that the NHL said 7:30 Bruins. Great. Thanks, guys. Another just real smart decision from the NHL. Anyways, B-Rob, I'll see you.
All right, thanks, boys.
All right, that's Brian Robb joining us on the Volkswagen Dealers Expert Hotline. You never want to be the media guy who complains. There's something about this position, though, that it makes you complain. It's like, oh, yeah, I need to go work a shift on the highest rated sports radio station in the country and talk about sports coming off a weekend where the Bruins and the Celtics play, and I'm going to complain how it all goes about. I'm sorry. I'm a dick. What can you say? 617-779-0985. Hey, we're coming up on 8:45, 8:50, which I do believe means we have in or out. Is that correct? Got an in or out on a Friday night?
That is correct.
Let's do it. That's coming up next. A quick update on the Sports Hub headlines here of a Red Sox game that none of us are actually watching, but we'll tell you exactly what's happening over at Fenway Park. Huh?
Essential Sports Hub headline presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
Nothing. The answer is nothing. It's because neither team is hitting. Red Sox and Tigers scoreless in the seventh inning. It's a good old-fashioned pitcher's duel at Fenway Park. Ranger Suarez, 6 scoreless.
Are you in or out? Gotta know without a doubt. I'm the one you need for a dirty deed. I'm the best. Success is guaranteed.
That wouldn't be the Joe Show without some in or out. It's a Friday night. Matt McCarthy in for Joe. Joe is very much enjoying WrestleMania and all that Vegas has to offer. So we continue. The show must go on. And Skaz is here to ensure that it does. What do we have tonight, Skaz, on a Friday or in or out?
Yes, a Friday night, April 17th edition of In or Out. We're going to be a little all over the place as we are at night, and especially during In or Out. But we're going to start locally with some playoff foods.
Playoffs?
New playoffs means new foods. Playoffs come to town. That means everybody's stepping up their game. This from the people over at TD Garden. A couple new food items. This from our friends over at Channel 5. Let's start, Matt McCarthy, with the Boston Cream Fried Dough. The Boston Cream Fried Dough is kind of exactly what it looks like. Let's see if I can get a Boston favorite, a Fluffernutter with peanut butter, marshmallow, bacon on a cheeseburger. It sounds crazy and delicious, says the executive chef over at TD Garden.
Wait a minute. I thought when you were saying a Boston Cream Fried Dough, that's like a Boston Cream donut in fried dough form.
Oh, hold on. I'm reading the wrong thing here.
I was going to say, whoa.
There's a lot going on here.
Listen, we can get sports stuff wrong all night long. But on the Joe Show, Skaz, we can't get food stuff wrong.
Have to be held to a higher standard.
Apologize.
I apologize, but I'm not sorry, as Joe Murray would say. The Fluffernutter Burger is what we're looking at here. This is a double burger topped with fluff, peanut butter, and crispy bacon is the first item. Matt McCarthy, are you in or out on the Fluffernutter Burger?
How has this not been tried before? Or how have I never had one of these before? Because peanut butter on a burger is outstanding. A place in Mansfield, Flynn's, that does, I think it's the Donegal. Oh, got the peanut butter on the burger. Bacon cheeseburger, I think it is. That is good stuff. So you throw the fluff in there as well. Skaz, I don't have enough Fluffernutters as an adult. They are an all-time classic sandwich. How can you not enjoy it? So much so, I kid you not, when I got COVID, in the height of COVID, when you had to, isolate for however many days.
Yes. Social distance.
I had fluff in the house. Now, I was not expecting to get COVID, so it's like, I don't like delivery. I don't like paying delivery fees. So I'm like, well, I'm going to make the food last in the house as long as I could. I had a jar of fluff that I found in the back of my cabinets, and I had graham crackers. That Lord knows how long the graham crackers had been there for. For days on end, I just scooped graham crackers into the jar of fluff, and it was remarkable. Tremendous. That's a snack right there. Fluff is so underused in all forms. It's delightful. So throw it on a burger, in.
Not a marshmallow guy. I'm a hard out on that.
I will say, I'm not a huge marshmallow guy either, but there's something about fluff that's just... Oh, it's charming.
People do love it. I'll give you that. When my grandfather, when he retired down south, he would require us to mail and send him fluff because they did not sell it in the South, whatever this was, 20-ish years ago.
It is such a New England staple, right?
Yes.
Don't we make fluff? Is it in Lynn? Is that right?
Now these are questions for Joe Murray.
Where is fluff made?
I know Cane's, I believe, is local.
Lynn, Massachusetts.
There you go. There's a man. See, that's why you're hosting, Matt.
This is why I'm here.
Yes, that's why I'm behind the glass. I stumble over these things. You know where it's coming from.
I mean, Skaz, again, I had nothing to do during COVID, so I started reading the back of the fluff. I'm like, I want to know more about this. Why don't I eat more of this? Oh, it's so good. Factory in Lynn. It's been manufactured in Lynn since 1929. Great Depression.
We're getting up on 100 years here.
Oh.
I'm going to need to celebrate.
Good for you, fluff. All right. In on that.
All right. Well, while we're on the playoff food items, let's head down to Dallas for this one. New for playoff games at the Dallas Stars. Matt, are you familiar with Dubai chocolate? No. A craze that has been out. It's basically, I think it's just like chocolate and hazelnut that people really, really like. But they're doing Dubai chocolate Churros. I'm sorry. It is chocolate and pistachio paste.
Oh, God. Why would you ruin such a good thing like chocolate with pistachio?
I mean, I like pistachios, but yeah, just give me the chocolate.
For the love of God. We've already found the great combinations with chocolate. You don't need to do more.
It's peanut butter, yeah.
It's peanut butter. That's it. You don't need to mess around. Now, hold on. What if we did some fluff? Peanut butter and fluff in some chocolate.
Surprised our friends over at Reese's haven't tried that yet.
Our friends in Lynn.
They set them up.
Just a little peanut butter, fluff, and chocolate.
I'm in on that.
There's no way that isn't good. I mean, that's literally a s'more.
Yes,
That's all that is. Of course we figured that out.
We invented a s'more.
Long time ago. How has it not been done in fluff form, though? Or in candy bar form? Well, a little more of that. So I'm sorry, what's this Dubai chocolate thing they're doing down in Dallas?
Churros with chocolate and pistachio paste.
Why mess with the greatness that is churros?
I'm not gonna argue with you there.
Strong out on this, Gaz. Rejected.
I would agree. Just give me a regular churro. We'll stick with the food items, though, as it is the Joe Murray Show. Chupa Chups, which is a lollipop. Yes, a lollipop company called Chupa Chups is launching a meatball-flavored lollipop for a limited time. They will be given away for free at IKEA stores, but not in Sweden.
Wait.
Matt McCarthy, are we in or out on meatball-flavored lollipops?
Okay, initially out on this, but now that we're getting IKEA involved into it, I mean, you kind of have to be in, right? The Swedes know what they're doing.
With furniture, sure.
Yeah, but with meatballs, yes.
Yeah, for the most part. I think don't they do horse sometimes, though, or was that my mistake in there?
Horses? Like they do horses?
Like they eat. Don't they do horse meatballs in Sweden?
No, I mean, I learned today, actually, that horse offers more protein than regular beef. That's a fact.
Well, then my apologies.
Look it up.
I'd eat it. I'm just saying. Some people frown upon that, I think.
I mean, yeah, I'm saying, what's wrong with eating a horse?
I think it's fine.
I mean, we eat cows.
Yeah, sure.
We eat deer.
Absolutely.
We eat many things.
Most.
All.
As a guy who eats seafood, anything I'm pretty much.
Sure.
Absolutely.
So what's wrong with eating a horse? You want to grill that puppy up?
Sure.
I mean, that's the circle of life there, Skaz. I mean,
absolutely.
Like, the horse dies, like, what are we going to do?
It's a better ending than half the race horses we see out at, Santa Anita out there or whatever.
You kidding me?
Yeah.
I mean, that would be, listen, if you're going to go, put a bullet in Barbaro's head, at least we should,
honor him,
right.
Have a nice meal.
Yeah.
I would co-sign that.
Sure, why not?
You've convinced me. I'll have the meatball
in
lollipop.
on a horse. Yeah. Kentucky Derby's coming up, Skaz. That's a big time event for horse deaths. So, I mean, what's
one of the biggest?
Not a good weekend to be a horse.
Tough one.
Is there such a thing as a good weekend to be a horse?
Maybe like the week after the Derby. I don't know.
Yeah, it means you made it through.
Yeah,
it's like being a
good
turkey.
Retirement if you make it there for a horse. Great, one of the best.
If you win the race,
we'll talk about perks.
That's a great weekend to be a horse. That's
Absolutely.
a great life to be a horse. Other than that, I mean, if you do hurt your leg though, I mean, things aren't going to end up so well for you.
Not good.
Not hot.
Not so good.
Not what you want.
Oh my! It's just things happen.
He loved that animal. You got to understand. It was just a horse.
Just a horse.
Just a horse. She wasn't. No, I won't even go there. First of all, I was in Miami. There was coke involved. No, I'm sorry. What am I out on again?
You're in. I think on the meatball lollipop.
Oh yeah, in. Why not?
All right. Maybe our last food item. Who knows? But this, I had to get your thoughts on this. The Detroit Pistons have unveiled a new ice cream dessert for the playoffs, served in a souvenir sneaker. So it is what appears to be almost a plastic sneaker, a see-through. It is a sundae with vanilla ice cream topped with red or blue soda, sprinkles, a Pistons topper, all in a shoe. Matt McCarthy, are you in or out on a sundae out of a Detroit Pistons shoe?
If it's not a real shoe, if it's we're talking like the plastic helmet, right? You go to a baseball game.
Yeah, I'll toss it in Slack.
Yeah, no, I mean, I've seen it. I mean, yes, if that is a plastic shoe, I am into this, except I'm out on the idea of the soda. Why do we need the soda to go along?
Great point.
Well, is it root beer? I mean, we're talking about like a root beer float because that works out well.
It almost has to be, right?
That doesn't look root beer-ish.
It says topped with red or blue soda.
Red or blue soda. So no, I'm out on this.
It's just too vague for me.
Just let the ice cream stand alone. Skaz, I went to, I'm sure, one of your places, Tom and Jimmy's last night. The ice cream stands alone.
Oh, down in Taunton there.
Down
right?
in Raynham.
Oh, Raynham, yes.
Yes.
Okay, right
Yes.
on the line there.
Right on the line. I said, you know what? I'm going to grab myself some ice cream. Do I need anything to support the ice cream? No, the ice cream is one of the great standalone foods out there. Just give it to me in a boot. That's fine. I'll take it in the boot because that means more ice cream for me. You just don't need to top it with red or blue soda. I'm good with that. Sprinkles, yeah. Jimmy's, obviously. Now, we a chocolate Jimmy's or a rainbow Jimmy's kind of guy?
Never the biggest sprinkles guy. A mint chocolate chip, sometimes that would be like the texture I would eat in an ice cream, but I was never a big sprinkles guy. I like sprinkles on a donut, but not my ice cream.
No, we talking green mint chocolate chip or the white Breyers mint chocolate chip?
I like the green with the chips in there,
It's a bad take right there, Skaz.
Well, I got a lot of them. Stick around.
It's a bad take. Yeah, white mint chocolate chip, that's when it's like, this is the high quality stuff. You're not getting the worthless dye. It's like, no. We're gonna stand on the mintiness alone. We don't need to sell you on this.
I want the real one. Whatever the real one is. That's the one I get.
You see, I think most people would think the green one is the real one, but they're selling you on the mint. I don't need to be sold on the mint. I know it's mint. I have taste buds.
Don't I'm going for it.
It's precisely that's why I'm ordering it. Bring it to me. White mint chocolate chip ice cream, not green mint chocolate chip ice cream. I don't need that fake stuff. But no, I'm in on this. Ice cream in a shoe? In.
All right, Matt McCarthy, are you a Toy Story fan?
Hell yeah.
You
want to watch me cry? When my cousin was 10 years old, I took my cousin to see Toy Story 3. And at the end, my cousin shook me. He was like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "No, I'm not. Leave me alone. Don't ask me that question ever again." Sobbing, bawling my eyes out. I was just like I was just bad.
One of the great trilogies of all time.
Tremendous trilogy. The 4 wasn't bad.
It's fine.
Whatever.
But we have some news with Toy Story 5 on the horizon. Woody will be balding and have a beer belly in Toy Story 5. Matt McCarthy, are you in or out on Woody balding and getting a beer belly?
See, once again, they're just following my this is targeted at people like me, Skaz. And I was 5 years old when the initial Toy Story came out. I was, 18 or whatever I was, going off to college when Toy Story 3 came out. That was targeted at me. Now that I'm a 35-year-old balding man, what's Woody doing? He's balding and he's developing a gut. So, yeah, I'm in on this. This is my life story. I am Woody. What is Toy Story 6? Woody can't get a Woody? Is that like what we have going on?
Maybe that's 7 or 8. Give him a couple of years.
Dude, give me a few more years on that. But no, I'm in on this. It's just going to hit me in the feels again. Every time I keep saying we don't need another Toy Story, and then they deliver.
Toy Story is one of the rare ones where 2 and 3 didn't feel over gratuitous. They were good movies. 4, I don't know if I've ever seen it.
It was fine. They didn't need to do anything more beyond 3. 3 is a borderline masterpiece. It's that good.
I think it's very good.
So it's why do you need to do another one after that? But you could say Toy Story, the original Toy Story, was undeniably a masterpiece. So why do you need to do? The answer is money. The search for more money, and you can sell anybody on it.
All right. Well, speaking of remakes, reimaginings, whatever you want to call it, are you familiar with the movie Fern Gully?
I've never heard of Fern Gully.
Yeah, it was 1992. It was kind of the magical little fairies almost, or magic people that lived in the woods, I believe. But yeah, they're doing a new one. If you've never, I don't really know much about it, so we're both going to say out, I would imagine.
Okay, yeah, sure. Robin Williams was in Fern Gully.
Yes,
huh?
Yes.
The Last Rainforest. It's an animated musical fantasy film.
Yes. So another one of those is coming out if people are looking for that.
I didn't know I was in on it before, so I'm out.
How about the Brady Bunch, McCarthy? You a fan of the Brady Bunch?
When I was 8 years old watching it on Nick at Night, yeah, but as a 35-year-old balding man, probably not.
Well, the Brady Bunch house is opening up for tours. Are you in or out on touring the Brady Bunch house?
No, I'm out, and here's why. There's no way the inside is what the set was, right?
There's no shot,
no way.
Right?
They just took footage of a random house in Los Angeles.
You have to
Which
imagine,
is the way all of those things, the exterior of the home, the Golden Girls home or the house from Full House. unless it looks the exact same way as it does on the inside on the TV show.
Apparently, I'm reading, it does.
No kidding.
It is a historical landmark, and it has been in March, the home became part of Los Angeles' list of protected historic landmarks. Before approving the designation, council members determined the move was categorically exempt from environmental review, blah, blah, blah.
Okay. That's a hard thing to get out there.
Christopher Knight, who played Peter Brady on the show, is fully behind the decision. I'm sure you know that. That's great. Carries a lot of weight.
Yeah.
But because of this, the house is intact. The house fans will get to see every detail down to the orange countertop in the Brady kitchen. Current owner Tina Trahan is make sure one of television's most recognizable homes stays exactly the way generations of fans remember it.
You know what? I'm in on this. If it's the same as it was, because that home was very Hollywood set like. You're like, that's not a real house, right?
The stairs where you can like see both sides through, yeah.
In on this.
Apparently,
not really in on the show, but yeah, why the hell not?
Is there a house or something from a TV show that you would go out of your way to see?
Oh.
Like if you're in Jersey and you're by the Tony Soprano's house, would you swing by the neighborhood?
Yes, I would. But actually
like the Full House house, are you going out of your way to see?
No, I don't care about the Full House house.
Like if you're in Asbury Park, you're going to see the Grateful Dead house?
In Asbury Park?
I think, or no, not.
That's Bruce Springsteen.
Yeah, that's Park. Why I'm looking at you.
No, am I going to?
You're going to see Bruce's childhood home there?
Yes, of course I am. Like, this is where he wrote Nebraska and recorded Nebraska in Colts Neck, New Jersey. Yes, like, am I going to do that? Yeah. Am I knocking on the guy's door? Yeah, of course I'm doing that. All of that stuff.
Ashbury Street. I'm sorry.
Ashbury Street. Yeah, right.
That was close.
Well, hate Ashbury in San Francisco. It's a neighborhood.
That's where
the Grateful Dead were a San Francisco band, right?
Yes, that's where the Grateful Dead house is.
No, I mean I'm not a deadhead. Felger can go do that on his own time, as he would say. But no, I'm generally not. I'm trying to think of like a TV show. The Sopranos would be one. That's a good one because that house probably is the same on the inside as it's shot from the outside, right?
And even just like seeing the driveway and stuff, like you're like, yes, this is Tony Soprano's house. Like, yeah. Like Breaking Bad, I know the people that like owned it hated that people would come and see it, but I don't know if that's. I've never seen the show, so
I mean, Field of Dreams, that's probably
that's a good one.
Yeah, go see the cornfield, the house. That's all very real. Yeah, I would like to do that one day. Go to the Field of Dreams, stick your hand into the corn, and
They still doing that every year?
No, they're not. I think there's been some land debates out there, I think, and that was a cool visual.
They need the corn. I mean, it's Iowa, right? You can't just take that land away.
Is this heaven? No, it's Iowa. That baseball needs to find a way to get back there.
I love that. Yeah.
I would have loved if the Red Sox played one of those games. That would have been
probably the only time in my life you'd ever find me in Iowa.
There's no reason to ever go, except for that Field of Dreams. I'd be in on that. What else we have?
All right, McCarthy, let's see here. What else do we have? McDonald's is introducing a new lineup of drinks, including the strawberry watermelon refresher.
Okay. Isn't that like, doesn't Dunkin' have that?
I know.
Strawberry watermelon refresher? I feel like they're just ripping that from our good friends at Dunkin'. Come on.
A tropic refresher and a creamy vanilla cold brew. Matt McCarthy, are you in or out?
Again, that they're just trying to be Dunkin' there. Out. Just let Dunkin' be Dunkin'.
How about a sports one for you here? We try and do a little sports every once in a while. Adam Silver.
Out.
Yes. Unfortunately, not a great year for Adam Silver. But Adam Silver explains earlier today how he could... This was Craig Carton, too, by the way, which I just like to add because it's a funny place for this to happen. But he explains he could foresee an NBA Europe division, a European division, especially with advancements in supersonic air travel, he states. Matt McCarthy, are you in or out on NBA Europe?
I just want to find somebody in my life who loves me as much as Adam Silver loves Europe and everything Europe does and everything Europe does with sports. That man is obsessed with European soccer, and by the way, I am too. I love it, but no, I'm out on this. Okay, I mean, do we need a team in Sacramento? Would it be better to have a team in London? Maybe, I guess, but this is not something that I can be bothered with as a sports fan. This is something the leagues are bothered with because there's money. Europe is the next untapped market. It's why the NFL keeps going over there. You're eventually going to have a team or two over there. Is this going to happen? Yes, it's going to happen. But not because of the advances in travel and No, it's going to happen because there's a boatload of effing money over there.
You're not sold on supersonic air travel helping out the NBA?
Has air travel gotten any better in the last 5 years? I feel like
I would almost argue the opposite.
I think it's gotten worse.
Yeah. Certainly my TSA experiences recently haven't been all that great.
I mean, I get it. I'm not flying out of Hanscom for my stuff.
Yeah,
but,
that's true.
I mean, I'm going to Logan like the rest of you, but no, this has nothing to do with the advancement in technology. It has to do with the advancement of the NBA's financial interest, and for that reason, I'm out.
Well, Matt, since we're on the topic of travel, I've been seeing you all too recently. So a topic we've discussed a little on the Joe Murray Show, but the Artemis crew and their air travel. Were you in or out on that whole fiasco?
In. That's not a fiasco. That's Skaz. They went around the moon and came back and splashed down into the water. That's not a fiasco. That's what I call a success. There have been space fiascos before. I know a good space fiasco. We all know a good space fiasco. That was not one of them.
Not a fiasco.
No.
But their trip. Were you in or out on the trip?
I'm in on the trip. Why not? Now, I mean, is it the best thing we could spend our money on? Probably not, but we waste money all the time anyway. Like, far be it from me to say that, we should spend it on this instead of that.
I think it's stupid that we spend $93 billion to take pictures of the moon's ass. I think it's kind of dumb.
Does the moon have a nice ass?
I mean, it seemed like people were happy. So,
good.
Yeah.
It's like Pluto. Pluto has that nice little heart.
Poor Pluto got ringing when I was a kid, Matt. Back in my day.
Yeah.
Pluto was a planet.
It still is a planet. Forever will be a planet.
It's a dwarf planet, I believe, is the scientific term now.
It's a planet in my heart. But no, I'm all for seeing the moon's ass. Why not? Would you go to space?
No.
I mean, I wouldn't either. You want to talk about places where they could make advancements in travel?
Yeah.
To space? That better be like, just getting on an airplane and flying down to D.C. Like that. Once we can do that, I'll go up there. I'll float around. I think being in a gravity chamber would be kind of cool. I'd enjoy that.
I'll do the gravity chamber. That's about as far as I'm going.
Listen, I may have Googled a number of things like, can you do blank in space? Has it ever been done in space? I did a lot of research into that. I still don't know. NASA has not confirmed whether or not relations have happened in space, but I would volunteer. I would to, advance science and see how that potentially can happen or not happen in a non-gravity space environment. So I'm all for the research. There are still plenty of things we can learn in space, gas. So, I mean, you send people away for a few days. I mean, they're going to get bored. It must have been boring on the other side of the moon, right? I mean, eventually you look at it and they're like, well, then that's the moon.
There it is.
What else are we going to do?
Yeah.
What happens when humans get bored?
A lot.
A lot of things.
A lot, and more humans sometimes.
$93 billion. $93 billion, is that right?
I believe that is the number.
It's a lot of money.
MBTA could have used that.
But let's not act like Skaz that they would have spent it on something smart.
No, of course
You're
not.
assuming. It's like, we're spending too much money on the space program. Fair. Yes. You're assuming that we're going to reallocate that money to a better cause.
No, you're
Are
right.
we ever going to do that?
No, of course not.
I'm not going to try and fix our stupidity.
I just like the chance, I'm a man who likes the hope that maybe it could have happened,
Hope is not something you want to have.
It's a dangerous thing, they
It
say.
is. Is that in or out? We have anything more?
That's going to do it for Friday night edition of In or Out.
Do I have a break? Did I miss a break?
Yeah, it's all right.
It's the Joe Show.
Yeah.
All right. We got a break. We got to do this thing. Or the farthest I've ever been off clock. Oh, well, what are you going to do? It's Friday night. Bosses aren't listening anyway. We'll continue. It's Matt McCarthy in for Joe Murray.
Don't go anywhere. There's more Joe Murray. On the way on
You want him in the lineup every single day. It's not like they have a better option in the infield. It's Isaiah Kiner-Falefa or Andrew Monasterio, whatever his name is. So you want to get your best hitters in the lineup, your best 9. The only way to do that is to move Rafaela to the infield.
And then what's your outfield?
I don't like it either, but it's Duran in center, it's Abreu in right, it's Anthony in left, Yoshida at DH.
Is it fair for me to ask if Jarren Duran can play center field at Fenway?
Yes, because he can't play left field at Fenway. He's not a good outfielder. Yes. Yeah, 100%. Yes. I'm not saying I feel good about this. This is a take. I have a take. I don't feel good about the take.
I really attacked you off the jump, and that's on me.
No. I've said this 3 times, and I said this on Nesson today, and Manny Del Carmen's like, dude, you can't take him out of center field. I'm like, I know you can't. I know. But tell me how you're getting Yoshida in the lineup when you can't hit.
And right there, that sentence is my problem with the Boston Red Sox. And we are at a point on April 17th where we need to put Masataka Yoshida into the lineup. And I like Masa more than most, and I think he is a professional hitter. Not for power, but he can get on base. But just the fact that it's April 17th and their roster is so broken that we need to get Masataka Yoshida into it.
Yep, no doubt. But Skaz, I didn't break the roster. I'm just here to fix it.
I am. I'm making you answer for their crimes.
And you should, because I said they'd be good this year. I have defended them. I've defended them in the last year. I've defended Craig Breslow. So, yes, make me answer for it. Hand up. I'm responsible for this. Yes, my fault. So I'm here to fix it. I'm giving you not a solution I feel good about, but it is a solution. And you're shaming me. You're shaming my... How are you fixing this, Skaz? How are you getting Durbin out of the lineup? How are you getting Yoshida into the lineup? How are you doing it?
So you might not like this one either, but so their lineup today, I honestly didn't hate. I would rather have Narvaez, obviously, than Wong, but I thought it was an okay lineup. Can Marcelo Meyer play third base? Can he play shortstop at the major league level?
Yes, he can.
Because I don't hate putting Marcelo Meyer at short and putting, Story at second if I have to. And then if it's, I don't want Durbin or Monasterio out there, but I thought Monasterio was okay in his limited minutes, or minutes. I'm so used to talking Celtics, but he had a game at first where he was pretty productive. For me, I'm looking at 138 from Caleb Durbin, 176 from Marcelo Meyer, 175 from Jarren Duran, 200 from Trevor Story. Like, does Jarren Duran need to take a couple days off? Do you put Masataka Yoshida out there in left and say Duran maybe to take a few days off? I want to see what that lineup looks like without Jarren Duran.
So I think you're getting to the real elephant in the room here when it comes to the Red Sox. You're right. You want to say at their best when Rafael is in center field? Yes, that's true. Now, one of the ways to get Yoshida's bat into the lineup, let's not talk about him like he's Teddy Ballgame here, but he's a professional hitter and they need more of them. One of the ways is to move Rafael into the infield. The other way is to admit what the world knows. It's that Jarren Duran is your 5th best outfielder at this point. Fact. He's the worst option of those guys. Jarren Duran has sucked. Jarren Duran was not very good last year. And he has really not been very good this year. And he's not in a good place. He's flipping off fans. The reason he flipped off the fan the other night is because he was batting 7th. Now, the fan allegedly said something the fan never should say, ever. It's horrible. It's despicable. If that's what was said, there's no defending it. But the reason Duran probably responded, A, is because it's a horrible thing to say, but sometimes you just got to let idiotic things that people say roll off your shoulders. But the reason he responded is because he's batting $175 with a 527 OPS and had been dropped down to the 7th spot in the lineup. You don't see these situations where Duran interacts with fans when he's playing good baseball. It all comes when he's struggling. When he tried to fight the fan in Kansas City in 2022. He was struggling. He had butchered a ball in the outfield. And he heard something from the fan and basically tried to go into the stands. Had to be held back, essentially. Yeah. The whole tennis racket thing where he dropped the homophobic slur on the fan behind home plate, it's because the fan was saying you need a tennis racket up there to hit. So Duran was scuffling at that moment. He's hard on himself. That means he hears the fans a little bit more and responds. The reason they haven't taken Duran out of the lineup is because if they do, they're going to lose him. And he has a higher ceiling than most on this team. You know, if the Red Sox are going to be at their best, Jarren Duran is going to be a key part of it. He hopefully would be their leadoff hitter in that scenario. He would be closer to the version that he was in 2024. If Duran's going to be that guy, if the Red Sox are going to be at their best, Duran's going to be that guy. So they're afraid to bench him because they don't know if they'll get the best version of him if they bench him, which I get and I understand, but at the same time, he's going to hurt the team. He's going to hurt the team in this moment because Yoshida's a better option right now. Duran is the fifth best option of their 5 outfielders, but they need to keep playing him. So as a result, Yoshida stays out of the lineup and Durbin stays in the lineup and Duran stays in the lineup. So there you have it with that. So my solution in the interim is move Rafaela. Move Rafaela to the infield. And you know what? If a month and a half from now, Duran is still batting under 200, you sit him on the bench and that's that. And he's a sunk asset. And it is what it is. You're not going to get what you want out of him. You're not going to be able to trade him, but you're increasingly entering a phase where you probably won't be able to trade him anyway. So here we are. But they can't bail on Duran now. They're stuck in that spot, and they need to hope he turns it around. And 2 months from now, if he doesn't, well, then you cut your losses, you put him on the bench, knowing that you probably don't get anything from him for the rest of the year and maybe ever beyond that. I'm just not ready to quite do that yet, so I'd move Rafael to the infield in the interim. 617-779-0985. Still scoreless over at Fenway Park. We'll keep you posted on that. We'll continue. It's McCarthy in for Joe.
You're listening to Joe. You're listening to Joe Murray on 98.5.
Country Club. It's a great course. Tough course. Have you played there, Skaz? You must have played there.
I have. It's been a while, but I've played there in the past, yeah.
Beautifully maintained, open all year. Love Norton. One of my go-to courses.
Looking for a new home course? Join Norton Country Club's open house April 18th from 1 to 4. Enjoy food, drinks, and tour the course. Plus, enter to win a free golf membership. Call 508-285-2400 to register.
They're great fans of us here at the station. Mike and the crew in the clubhouse, they keep us on all the time. Every time I walk in there, Sports Hub on in the club. I mean, they're like from Toucher and Hardy in the morning through the rest of the day. I guarantee you they throw Joe on at night.
Love to hear
We have
that.
Majori doing their ads? Mike, dude, I'm your guy. I thought I was your guy.
It's your backyard.
McCone and I play there every Tuesday during the fall when he's down at Gillette. We always meet up there. Nice little 4 o'clock tea time. Get 9 holes in. We got Majori doing the spots. F out of here with that.
If only you knew that at 7 o'clock.
Unbelievable. Majori's cutting in on my action. I could get paid for that. I was out there. They did a wonderful glow-in-the-dark golf in October. It was great. Barth and I played. It was just tremendous. Good time. They're letting Majori voice those spots. No good problem. I'm gonna show up tomorrow at the open house. Actually, I was already thinking of doing that anyway. I show up and be like, guys, what's the deal here? That's a tough blow. Tough look for me. I don't know who I pissed off, but it's the trespassing. That's neither here nor there. 617-779-0985. How's your golf game doing, Skaz? You good?
I've only played, once this year, and it was in Louisiana, but I played pretty good for rolling out of bed, Shot 90 at TPC Louisiana for the first round of the year. I'll take that.
Wait a minute. You shot a 90 at TPC Louisiana?
Yes.
When was the last time a tournament was played at TPC Louisiana?
They play the Zurich there every year.
Oh, do they?
It'll be there in a couple weeks, yeah. So if I see anybody par the 7th hole? I birdied 1 hole, so if anybody pars that, terrible, loser. Never bet on him again in my life, because if I can birdie that hole, you shouldn't be out there. But no, it was great. A lot of gators, some wildlife out there, just tons of gators running around left and right, babies, big ones, a couple dinosaurs on the course, but tremendous, a good experience. And then you'll enjoy this. The course we played on Friday was Bayou Oaks, Park City, and we didn't know much about it. It was, but decently rated enough online. We go there. I go into the clubhouse, and it's a little bare. I'm walking around. I'm saying, this is a little interesting. And I start to notice the only things they have in the clubhouse are live merchandise.
Huh.
And they have the 4 aces in the.
Sure.
I can't even think of the team names because that's how irrelevant it's been. And apparently, this course was set to host an upcoming live event. And let me tell you,
might not happen.
The fact that we didn't immediately look at each other and go, "Well, this league is absolutely effed," speaks to the state of mind we were in. But looking back at it now with recent news. Yes, they are absolutely screwed. No offense to that course. It was a fine course for me and my buddies to play on a Friday morning of a bachelor trip. But to have Bryson DeChambeau and those gentlemen out there for $250 million or whatever it is, they might be in trouble, Matt. They might be in trouble.
That was a moment in time.
Yeah,
Live.
Certainly was.
Really.
Very brief moment in time.
It felt long in the moment. But looking back on it, it was a brief moment in time.
Quite an annoyance for a short period.
Yeah, and that's now done. And
a footnote in the history of golf. Maybe not even.
Sometimes when that money gets pulled, Skaz, it's the way the world works. The money gets pulled.
Ronaldo might be in a little trouble too there.
Oh, really?
They sold his soccer team too. Said, Al Halil, we're not too interested. A lot of funding being pulled.
Interesting.
Tom Brady's flag football team also no longer funded. So
a volatile time in that region.
Yeah, some stuff going on there.
Yeah, I know. It might be a little concerned about, Yeah.
You're not so worried about Phil Mickelson's gambling debts anymore, I guess.
No. Although Phil Mickelson should still be worried about his gambling debts. I don't want to be in gambling debt.
I have a feeling we'll be seeing a lot of him if LIV goes away. And I don't mean on the PGA Tour. I mean maybe for Car Shield. And other, the General maybe looking for a new. I imagine we'd see quite a bit of Phil Mickelson if LIV goes under.
J.G. Wentworth?
Yes, yeah.
7 cash now.
Talk about a guy that needs his cash now.
He needs the cash now. So I did hear the Marcelo Meyer Car Shield commercial did appear tonight on Apple TV. So
nice.
The world is right. So Marcelo Meyer, not only is he batting $170, he's also could use some acting work.
From Chris Berman to Marcelo Meyer.
Yeah. Who was the person who pitched the marketing ad? It's like, let's get Schilling.
So that's who that was. I couldn't even. I thought it was Skeletor or something for a second. I could not tell. I legitimately that commercial came on the other night. And me and intern Dawson both asked each other, "Who is this?"
That?
Yes, and then we realized it was Kurt Schilling. I hope health wise he's okay, but he didn't look great. I'll say that.
It's been a rough decade and a half for Kurt.
Yeah, not a great guy.
There's been some stress.
Self-inflicted wounds. I would say for the most part.
Definitely. No, things have not gone great. I mean, there's a man who really had the golden cow and somehow managed to kill it. That's a cautionary tale for all you young folks out there. You could literally be a hero.
Talk about a city you could have been made in.
Yeah, a region.
Yeah, honestly, yes.
But you bankrupted one state.
Yeah, I mean, jeez.
Things haven't really gotten much better for Rhode Island after that.
Makes Buddy Cianci look like, light work down there.
I mean, listen, Buddy got stuff done.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. At least he was doing stuff.
He got stuff done. That $75 million wouldn't have gone missing if Buddy were still around. That would have been accounted for. What do they say in The Simpsons? The million. I'm sorry, I thought it was $2 million. Yes.
Yes.
The $2 million. How silly of me. We'll continue. We got is this Red Sox game continuing? What do we got?
Top 10.
You got the game on.
I have mercifully put it on, Matt McCarthy.
I tried to.
Shout out the Rebs for my Apple TV subscription. That's why I'm a proud member of Apple TV.
I tried to get it hooked up in here because I know Joe Murray normally has it on. Joe's been logged out here in the studio, and I was not going. Now, I could be a professional and say I need to have the game on, or I could say I'm not going to text Joe with hey, you just got a code sent to your email. Can you text me that code? I'm not going to do that to him.
Wonder what Joe's up to right now.
We should check in. We should call him. I'm only half joking about that. Maybe we should see how Joe's doing. I'll shoot him a text. How's it going? How's WrestleMania? How's Vegas? Miss you. Quick update, right back with you.
Essential Sports Hub headline presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
Red Sox and the Tigers have gone to the 10th. They are scoreless, just 7 hits combined in this game. Ranger Suarez was excellent. 8 scoreless innings of 2-hit ball. Elsewhere, magic all over the Hornets. 90. multiple times last year where Rafaela struggled to get the bunt down in the moment, including in Game 2 against the Yankees in the wild card round. Rafaela could not get the bunt down, and it was disastrous. So what does Alex Cora do? 0-0, no bunt. Rafaela takes a strike. 0-1, puts the bunt on. You're not helping the player who can't do it in the first place. Bad managing from Alex Cora, who has done a bad job all year long. You have something you want to add to that? I see your mic is on. Did something happen?
It's a 2-2 count, and Jarren Duran is on third base.
He stole third.
Kind of. It was a bad pitch in the dirt, fell to bounce to the right of the catcher. Had Duran out by a mile, the third baseman dropped it. So out by a mile is strong, very strong, but he would have been out. The third baseman dropped it. 2-2 count, Duran on third.
All right, so it doesn't matter at this point. Doesn't matter the bunt, even though Rafaela couldn't get it down. He got to third no matter what. So runner on third, nobody out. I mean,
you got to win this game.
You have to win this game. This is and I will say, Cora is managing this game like he has to win this game. He went to Aroldis Chapman in the 9th, went back to him in the 10th. Ranger Suarez gave the Red Sox a great start tonight. 8 innings pitched, 2 hits, 4 strikeouts. He was outstanding. Sorry, they did not go back to Chapman. They went to Whitlock in the 10th. So they went Chapman-Whitlock.
Missed that. I thought it was Chapman.
Well, they went Chapman-Whitlock. So
that's what happens when you go to the bathroom, I guess.
Apparently. So where are we at? Is Rafaela still at the plate?
No. He struck out on a pitch that was nowhere near. It almost hit him.
Good at bat from Rafaela.
AJ Hinch did come out, and Alex Cora did get very mad at how long AJ Hinch was out there talking to his pitcher. He threw his hands in the air. I like, at least he has a pulse, I guess.
Cora?
Yes.
He has a pulse about the wrong things, though.
True.
You know what I would be mad about? I'd be mad that your hitter didn't get the bunt down. I'd also be mad at myself because I was inconsistent in my approach in the at-bat. You're not helping a guy who's not fundamentally good in the first place. You're putting him in a bad spot. He's down 0-1, then you put the bunt on? I got an issue with that. Got a real problem with that. So this will be a no doubt a failure for the Red Sox if they don't win this game. Again, they're up in the 10th inning, or they have a runner on third, winning run on third in the 10th inning in a scoreless ball game on a night where neither team has hit. The Red Sox have caught a break in this inning with an error charged to the third baseman for the Tigers that has put them in a position to win this game. If they don't score in this inning, this has a real chance to be a real kick in the you-know-what for the Red Sox in a series that they desperately need.
I believe what's happening right now is Marcelo Meyer is being not intentionally walked, but is being walked to set up the Caleb Durbin double play. I believe that is what is taking place.
Who's on the mound for the Tigers, a righty or a lefty?
A gentleman named Vest. He is a righty, I believe.
Okay.
Not looking at him currently, but if my brain from 10 seconds ago, I think he was a righty.
Yeah, okay.
I also thought Chapman came out for the 10th, though.
Just let me know if he's a righty or a lefty, and here's why. This matters because Durbin's pinch hitting, or Durbin's up. You need to pinch hit with Yoshida.
Caleb Durbin is no longer about to bat. Masataka Yoshida is up.
This is as automatic as it gets if you're the Red Sox. I mean, and this is why the lineup today is better than the lineup has been in recent days. I will give Cora credit for this. I think Cora's had a really bad start to the year. But the lineup starting today was Anthony, Contreras, Abreu. 1, 2, 3 at the top of the order. No longer do they have Caleb Durbin protecting Roman Anthony. It has not worked out. Anthony's gone 0-for-4 with the strikeout. But you need to get Anthony more pitches to hit. And you can't have the threat. And I mean a threat to you. The threat of Caleb Durbin lurking and looming in a big spot behind your best hitter in Roman Anthony. Batting him 8th gives you a spot where you can pinch hit for him with Yoshida. And of course you'd pinch hit with Yoshida anyway in this spot. But you can't get Anthony 3-4 at bats with Durbin hitting behind him where he's not going to get anything to hit. So this is where, setting the lineup at the beginning of the night actually helps you at the end of the night. And Cora finally put together the best lineup he's put all year. It's taken him way too long to get his 3 best hitters, Anthony, Contreras, and Abreu, back to back to back in the order. There have been too many holes for the Red Sox. It has not turned into better results tonight because, again, the game is scoreless in the bottom of the 10th. But here we are. So an opportunity for the Red Sox to win this game. We'll keep you posted on it, and we will be the first place to talk about it in the city. And what feels like a big night for the Red Sox. Suarez gave them everything you possibly could want and more in this game. So we will continue to keep you updated on that. When we come back on the other side, hopefully we're talking about a Red Sox win. 617-779-0985. McCarthy in for Joe.
Don't go anywhere. There's more Joe Murray. More Joe Murray.
for sports. WBCFM 98.5, the Sports Hub, a Beasley Media Group station. Sports Hub headlines, presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
Walk-off win for the Red Sox. Masataka Yoshida delivers with an RBI single in the bottom of the 10th inning. Red Sox beat the Tigers 1-0 at Fenway Park tonight. A no decision for Ranger Suarez. He was excellent. 8 innings pitched, 2 hits, 4 strikeouts, 1 walk. Aroldis Chapman a scoreless 9th. Garrett Whitlock picks up the win. He pitched a scoreless 10th for the Sox, who beat the Tigers again tonight 1-0 on a night where there were just 8 hits at Fenway Park. Elsewhere, the Magic coasting to a appearance in the NBA playoffs. In the 8th seed game, they are leading the Hornets 104-73 in the fourth quarter right now. Doc Rivers announcing his retirement today, coaching in the NBA. Bruins are going to open up the playoffs Sunday in Buffalo. We now know the time, 7:30. Game 2 set for Tuesday. Games 3 and 4 in Boston Thursday night at 7. Next Sunday at 2 p.m. Texans and All-Pro defensive end Will Anderson Jr. agreeing to an historic 3-year, $150 million contract extension and makes him the highest-paid non-quarterback in the NFL. Headlines are brought to you by DN Van Lines. Take the chance out of your move and make the sure bet with DN Van Lines, an approved mover of the Department of Defense, dnvanlines.com. I'm Matt McCarthy on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub, your next update in 30 minutes.
The Sports Hub. 3 legendary franchises on one legendary radio station. It's the Sports Hub.
2 balls and 1 strike on Yoshida. Bouncing ball, base hit, game over, and the Fenway Greens walk it off again.
We knew this was the type of ball game where that one run is going to win it. Both sides. Pitches settling well today. Home team gets another victory.
They have had 7 wins in those uniforms, and it's Yoshida with lucky number 7, making it a 7th walk-off win in those uniforms. The first career walk-off hit for Masataka Yoshida as the Red Sox win in 10, 1-0.
Masataka Yoshida comes in, gets the hit of the night. I mean, nobody could buy a hit tonight. Yoshida right now is batting .310 with an .888 OPS. Why is he not in the lineup again every day? Can somebody explain this to me?
I cannot. I wish I could. Masataka Yoshida is a professional hitter. We said it earlier in the show. That's what he does. It's not for power, but he gets on base, and that's something this team is in desperate need of. And I'm with you. I think he's a guy that should be out there, if not every day, certainly a lot more than he has been.
So, and the answer is, it's the roster doesn't work. And Cora's in a tough spot in trying to get Yoshida in the lineup, and he comes through with a big hit. Basically, the only hit tonight. Red Sox win. They walk it off. The ghost runner scores. Jarren Duran gets to third and probably should have been out, as Skaz described to us. Again, you couldn't see it because it's on Apple TV. But Yoshida delivers. He needs to be in the lineup every day until he stops hitting. And if he's not hitting, then there's no reason to have him in the lineup because he can't field, he can't run, he can't do anything else. He is a one-tool player. Does not hit for power, but he puts his bat on the ball. And I do wonder if A.J. Hinch should have considered walking him, although Wong's hit pretty well so far this year. Wong was behind him. That would have, forced in a run, the winning run with a walk. So facing Yoshida probably was the only choice. But Cora goes to Yoshida off the bench tonight for Caleb Durbin. And it works out. But Yoshida should be in the lineup every day for Caleb Durbin. And the way to make that happen is to move Cedar Rafaela to second base or even third base. If you want to put Meyer at short, Story at second, however you want to align your infield, the Red Sox should be at their best right now with Cedar Rafaela in the infield because that opens up the chance for Yoshida to play and hit every day, which is something this team needs. This game was scoreless going to the 10th tonight. They can't hit. There's no power in this lineup. Not that Yoshida gives you that, but he gives you professional at-bats, which very few guys on this team will give you. Trevor Story's batting under 200. Jaron Duran's batting under 200. Marcelo Meyer's batting under 200. Caleb Durbin got a knock tonight, otherwise would be threatening to bat under 100. They need better hitters, they need more professional hitters, and they need to do everything they can to get a guy like Yoshida in the lineup. It speaks to the problems the team has if you really need Masataka Yoshida, but right now they really need Masataka Yoshida. So there's my solution. Cedar Rafaela to the infield. Yoshida's your DH, or Yoshida can play left if you really don't think you want Roman Anthony out there. I mean, I think you have to let Anthony figure it out in left field. So Anthony's my left fielder. Yoshida's my DH. You put Duran in center. Rafaela to the infield. That's your best lineup. Get Durbin out of the lineup. Send him to Worcester. I don't care. Send him anywhere. Send him to the ass side of the moon on the next Artemis mission. Send him anywhere. I don't care. Get Yoshida in the lineup. But Skaz, you disagree with my plan. You disagree with my approach. No. Do you want Yoshida in the lineup? Yes or no?
Yes.
How would you go about doing it?
I'm benching Jaron Duran. That's how I would go about doing it at this point. Or I'm making Roman Anthony the DH. I think that's another way to do it. If they want to make the Caleb Durbin thing real, I put Contreras at first, Durbin at third. I have Narvaez catch. Roman Anthony's my DH, and Yoshida's in left field.
Yep. So that's it. It's Duran for you. Which, by the way,
you don't like Anthony as the DH. You think it's too early?
I think it's too early for him to be a DH, yes. Now, if Jaron Duran can't play left field, Masataka Yoshida can't play left field. So what's the difference if Roman Anthony can't play left field?
He can't throw from left field.
He can't throw. But Duran can't play out there, and Yoshida can't either. I mean, it's not like you have Yaz in left field, okay? It's not like, Anthony would be taking time away from them. I don't want Anthony to be a full-time DH at this time. Like, he's got to work through the mechanics, and the only way to work through the mechanics is eventually in game. He's got to have a good throw, and I mean, he's got the yips basically. You got to work through that.
You have Chuck Knobloch in left field.
Okay, well, that's better than having Chuck Knobloch in left field, which you have in Jaron Duran, because Nobby couldn't play left field. Neither can Jaron Duran, and neither can Yoshida. But I think you're getting, Skaz, to the most important story going on with the Red Sox right now. It's that Jaron Duran is a problem. He's a problem for this team. Because in a vacuum, Skaz, you're right. They are not as good with Rafaela in the infield as they are with him in center field. And for a team that is built around run prevention on a night where you did not score, and, Suarez was really good, Durbin's good in the field, Meyer's good in the field, so at least your infield defense is all right. I mean, Story kind of sucks at shortstop, but they're not going to move him away from there because the run prevention Red Sox really are just the hurt feelings prevention Red Sox when it comes to precious Trevor Story. So that's a different issue. Eventually you need to get Meyer at shortstop because Story is not that guy at this point. But how do you get Yoshida in the lineup? Well, you're right. The cleanest way to do it is to just bench Jaron Duran, who has played like he deserves to get benched. Jaron Duran should be benched. Yes, I agree. 100%. Jaron Duran should be benched. The problem is, if you bench Duran now, you've lost him for good. I feel confident in saying that. If you bench him now, that's it. He's not coming back from that. And I'm not saying this to be mean about Jaron Duran, but can we call a spade a spade? Can we call it what it is with Jaron Duran? If you bench him, he's not going to respond well to it. And you probably won't get anything from him moving forward. Here is a player who has a long and documented history of struggling when he struggles. And again, that's a great way to describe it. Struggling when he struggles. But when he goes through these moments on the field where he's not playing well, he has a hard time getting out of those moments. He has a hard time with failure. And if you put him on the bench after he was an all-star a year and a half ago, that's going to be a big-time announcement to the world that this guy is failing. And I just don't know if he's going to respond positively to that. Some players do respond positively to getting benched. Some players do respond positively to being challenged. Some players do respond positively to adversity. Duran has a long and documented history on the baseball field of not responding positively to adversity. So if you put him on the bench now, you have to acknowledge that chances are that might be it. You're not going to get anything from him. And organizationally, they probably don't want to do that because they still probably want to trade him. But they weren't willing to trade him this past offseason because, as Jeff Passan reported, they wanted a 7-WAR return for Jarren Duran. The rest of baseball said he's a 4-WAR player, which is what he was in 2025. And the Red Sox said, we're not getting good value for this guy, so we're not going to trade him to you. We want full value. We want 7-WAR value. If you got 2-WAR value right now for Jarren Duran, you'd be lucky. So they want to get him turned around. They want to get him to figure it out, but at what cost? And this is why Alex Cora's job is tough. One of his better hitters is consistently on the bench in Masataka Yoshida. How are you going to make that happen? How are you going to fix that? Yoshida has appeared in 12 games. Red Sox have played, 20 games at this point? Roughly, give or take. What was their record coming into tonight? It was 7-11. So now they're 8-11? They played 19 games. Yoshida's appeared in 12 of them, but a number of those have been in this situation as a pinch hitter. He needs to be in the lineup every day. How do you make it happen? There are 2 pathways to it at this point. I guess 3. One is you play him every day and you rotate everybody else. That's not a great path. The second path is you do what Skaz said. You bench Jarren Duran. Organizationally, there's going to be pushback to that because he's going to be depreciated, pretty much a lost asset, I think, if you do that. And you might not get anything out of him this year. So to me, and it's not a very clean way to do it, but the best path right now is Rafaela to the infield. Durbin to Worcester, and that's that. It makes your lineup better. You get worse defensively. I will fully acknowledge that, but infield defense is more important than outfield defense. Not that outfield defense isn't important, but Rafaela will play a good second base. Meyer will play a good third base. You're not going to lose anything in the infield, and you'll get a better lineup. I think that's the best way to do it. But that's the story tonight, is Yoshida comes through, and he just needs to be in there every day. Your thoughts on the Red Sox, your thoughts on this game, if you're driving home from Fenway, first place in the city to talk about it, 617-779-0985. We'll get into Ranger Suarez's night as the Red Sox pick up a 1-0 victory at Fenway Park tonight over the Tigers and improve to, again, 8-11 on the season. Does this change how you feel about them? We'll get into all of that next. It's McCarthy in for Joe Murray.
You're listening to Joe Murray on 98.5. You're listening to
And coming home on a night where they did not hit, Ranger Suarez was excellent. 8 innings pitched, 2 hits. That's the Ranger Suarez that the Red Sox signed. He's been better his last 2 times out. And that will be a big-time game changer if he is a legitimate bona fide number 2 starter, which he certainly has been. It's a big win, too. Skubal goes tomorrow. Is that correct? MLB's website is not as good as it once was.
Let
but
me double-check.
I'm fairly certain. I mean, Skubal goes in this series. So if you lose this game tonight, on a night where you get 8 innings from Ranger Suarez, and you lose the game 1-0 in extra innings instead of win the game 1-0 in extra innings, and Skubal going tomorrow against this lineup, all of a sudden that changes the complexion of the series. It changes the homestand. Sneaky big win for the Red Sox tonight. Masataka Yoshida picked up the game-winning hit in the bottom of the 10th. He has to be in the lineup every single day. I don't know how you can feel any differently about that. How you go about doing it is a discussion, but I don't think there's any discussion at this point. He's one of your best players. He's one of your best hitters, which is a problem if he's one of your best hitters, but he is, so he needs to be in the lineup every day. How do you go about doing it? You let me know. 617-779-0985. For me, it's Rafaela goes to the infield. For Skaz, Duran goes to the bench. How about Matt in the car with the first thought after the Sox win tonight? Hey, Matt.
Hey, McCarthy. Love your take on the race. Love your takes.
Thanks, man. Appreciate
it. Hey, listen, you were talking about our good friend Jaron Duran earlier.
That's right.
I've been asking to ship his butt out of town for a year and a half. Why haven't we done it?
Well,
why haven't we shipped him out of town?
Because they overvalued him, Matt. I mean, Jeff Passan reported they wanted a 7-WAR return for Jaron Duran. The rest of the league was offering a return more aligned with a 4-WAR player, which is what he was last year. The Red Sox said, no, he's a 7-WAR player, give us a 7-WAR return, and the rest of baseball balked at that.
He's absolutely not a 7-tool player. He should have been shipped out of here a year and a half ago. He's wasted space. He's wasted in the clubhouse. The guy's a bum. I don't understand why people love this guy in this town.
Well, he plays hard. He plays hard, runs hard. And yes, Red Sox fans, there's a section of Red Sox fans who love Jaron Duran. They feel very strongly about it. And listen, when Duran is on, he's a really fun player to watch. Runs like the wind. He can line the ball into the gap and run for days. He is a fun guy to watch when he's at his best. The problem is Duran is rarely at his best. He's a player who has not fulfilled his potential. He showed you his potential for the majority of 2024, and he has not done that ever since. And I think we have to ask ourselves some hard questions as to why he has not fulfilled his potential. And, to me, the answer is it goes a little bit back to the incident in Minnesota the other night. Does it really matter that Jaron Duran flipped off a fan? No, it doesn't matter that Jaron Duran flipped off a fan, especially if the fan said what Duran claimed the fan said. And I have no reason to either believe or not believe what Jaron Duran said. If that fan said that, obviously it's a horrible thing. Nobody should say that. It's reprehensible that somebody would say that. It certainly was said in Cleveland last year. Maybe it was said in Minnesota this year. I don't know whether it was said. I guess I take him at his word that it was said. In the end, though, Duran has proven to the world that he hears you. He hears you. And that you can try to get in his head. Duran has, he said the other night, basically saying he's made himself a target for talking so openly about his struggles and the attempt he made on his life. I disagree. I don't think Duran has made himself a target because he talked about that. I think Duran has made himself a target because he's had incidents with fans in the past. He has proven to you that he hears you and he'll respond to you. And what is some jackass in the stands going to say if he wants you to respond to him? He's going to try to say anything that is going to get the player to respond because he's looking to get that reaction out of you. And Duran has proven time and time again that he hears that and he's going to respond to it. If you say, hey, you need a tennis racket up there, you need a tennis racket, Duran's going to turn around and say something to you. Who wins in that scenario? Duran doesn't win. The team doesn't win. The fan wins. The jackass in the stands, who's probably a tool, has, no business saying what he's saying, but is just going there to get a reaction out of you. Durant keeps proving time and time again he's going to give you that reaction. He proves that you can get in his head. You can affect his game. Because Durant generally responds when his game is not where it needs to be. Why did Durant flip the fan off the other night? A, because the fan probably said something bad, really bad, something the fan should not say. But B, Skaz, where was Durant hitting in the lineup the other night? On the night he flipped off the fan?
Was it second?
7th.
Oh, well.
7th.
That'll do it.
He'd been dropped to 7th.
So
he's feeling it a little bit going into the game.
Can I give you something else, too, on the Durant thing that hasn't really been discussed? And that's Alex Cora's comments to Ken Rosenthal, which became kind of a topic earlier this week, where he talked about the roster construction and how younger guys in the league, like your Christian Campbells and your Roman Anthonys, are getting $70, $100 million contracts. Is there a guy on the Red Sox who maybe feels he's been underpaid and has been taken to arbitration and has to sit and watch guys who have done significantly less in their professional careers than him get rewarded while he has been here, has gone through, some pretty miserable seasons, up and down seasons, and is still fighting to really be paid what he feels he's worth. And now he's in kind of a platoon outfield and isn't going to have the opportunities and is maybe feeling all the kind of pressure you're mentioning. Do you think that maybe the contract is part of Jaren Durant's situation right now?
Yes. Yeah, of course. And Cora talking about that creates an interesting dynamic. I'm sure that's a factor. Durant is seeing millions of dollars go out the window here. And has seen millions of dollars go out the window over the course of the last year. Let's call it what it is. There's a reason the Red Sox haven't paid him. There is. And the Red Sox have been willing to pay any young player. Anybody. Christian Campbell is the richest man in the history of Worcester.
Well, Rusney Castillo, did he ever make it to Worcester?
Well, he may have made it to Worcester at the very end, but he is the richest man in the history of Pawtucket.
No doubt there.
That is obvious. I think there's some money in Worcester, but no, Rusney is, he's the king of Pawtucket. So the Red Sox will pay anybody. They haven't paid Durant. So it's twofold. One, by paying all these young players, and, Durant has kind of said that he really hasn't even been approached. That's been acknowledged in the past. I don't know if he's been asked about it recently, but that was a couple of years ago. The Red Sox hadn't approached him. So the question is, why haven't you approached the player? And in the end, they see reasons why they don't want to pay Durant. He's a speed player. Speed players generally don't age well. So there's that. There's probably the fact that he's been consistently up and down in his entire career. And one of the reasons he's been up and down is, we have to, it's hard to say, but he's a guy who I think has again struggled with failure. So I think that's one of the reasons, he goes into these spirals as a player. So do they want to pay Durant? Just flat out, do they want to pay a speed guy? Do they want to pay him? So that's a factor for sure. So you've got all these young guys getting paid. That's probably creating some level of tension, maybe not within the clubhouse, but for Durant. But also at the same point, Skaz, the Cora comments basically saying, we don't have a culture, and I'm paraphrasing here, but it's talking about because you have nothing but young guys, you don't have a lot of culture that's been built. They probably lack leadership in that clubhouse. Jaren Durant, you would hope, would be one of those guys. But do you really want Jaren Durant being one of your leaders?
No. And,
no.
And I don't even think you need to say probably.
No, you don't.
I think you just say that they have a leadership problem in that clubhouse. Wilson Contreras has been here for 6 minutes, and he appears to be the leader of the team this season. And I'm not sure, I like Wilson Contreras. I think he's a fiery guy. If you watched him in the World Baseball Classic, he was certainly one of the leaders there, but he's also 38, 39 years old, and who knows what his shelf life is. So yeah, it's kind of an odd spot. And outside of Durant, too, the rest of the roster is hurt by this because Roman Anthony's not protected. He's forced into a different spot. Your whole lineup is just, forced into not making any sense, as we've gone over at length tonight on multiple nights. It's very rare that you look at a Red Sox lineup maybe once or twice this year and you didn't feel a pit in your stomach, and not that that's Jarren Duran's fault per se, but he's unfortunately part of the log jam there, and somebody's got to go. And right now, he seems like he's the guy.
Well, you would argue he's the guy.
I would argue.
I would argue he's the guy too in a vacuum, but they're not going to do it. They're not. Yoshida's not going to play every day because they still need to make room for Duran. And his potential is higher than Yoshida. Duran and Story are two huge guys on this roster and on this team because they do have potential greater than 198 and 533 for Story, and Duran batting 172 with a 520 OPS. I mean, those are two players who have all-star potential. And obviously rarely do they perform up to that potential, but they do. So the Red Sox are concerned about losing Duran. I would imagine, if you bench him right now and, somebody gets hurt, or you go back to him, what are you getting from Duran at that point? So they're doing everything they can. They're giving him every chance they can for him to turn it around. He went 1 for 4 tonight. He ultimately scored the winning run, but he was the ghost runner in that spot, stealing third. Probably would have been thrown out, Skaz, as you said, if the third baseman catches the ball. I didn't see it. Don't have Apple TV in here. Skaz has Apple TV back there. But, Duran right now is the 5th best option of those outfielders, including Yoshida. He's the 5th best option. And yet he's going to be played. He's going to get more opportunities than the 5th best option because they don't want to lose him and they know his potential and they need his potential. But that's a tough spot to be in. So how do you do it? Skaz says, damn the torpedoes, put him on the bench. I say, don't get me wrong, I'd love to just wash my hands of it, but for a team that, needs more star power and, needs more, all-star quality players, Duran still does have that ceiling, and I don't want to lose him just yet, so I move Rafael to the infield. That's how I'd approach it. 617-779-0985, but make no mistake about it. This has to be one of the stories moving forward. Yoshida needs to be in the lineup every day. How do you get him into the lineup? Duran is the obvious, from a production standpoint, he's the odd man out. But how long are they going to keep this up? We'll find out. Quick update will continue. It's Matt McCarthy in for Joe Murray.
Essential Sports Hub headline presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
Masataka Yoshida with a game-winning single, an RBI single in the bottom of the 10th inning. Red Sox beat the Tigers 1-0 tonight at Fenway Park. Ranger Suarez was excellent. Took a no decision. 8 scoreless innings for Boston. Gave up just 2 hits. Sox will send Brian Bayo to the mound tomorrow against Tarek Skubal. In the NBA tonight, not much competition. In the 8th seed play-in game in the Eastern Conference. coming in, obviously one of the better teams in the American League, certainly on paper. The betting favorite to win the American League this year. So this is a critical key homestand for the Red Sox, which is what makes tonight a really good win, a really important win. With Tarek Skubal on the mound tomorrow for Detroit, they had to win this game. And if you lost this game 1-0 instead of winning this game 1-0, that changes things. That being said, 1-0 does speak to the issues on this team. Ranger Suarez was excellent tonight, and he's been good the last 2 times out. So that is very encouraging. I'm very pleased about that. Chapman and Whitlock both scoreless innings. That's the formula right there. No errors, pitch, catch the ball, win low-scoring games. Red Sox are going to have to score more than this, though. They have to. And there are concerns in the lineup. We've spent a lot of the last 40 minutes talking about Masataka Yoshida, why they need to get him in the lineup, how you go about doing that. He is one of the better hitters on the team. We have not devoted enough time, I think, to the other guys who are not hitting. We've spent a lot of time on Jarren Duran, rightfully so, but there are other guys on this team who are not hitting too. Trevor Story is, I could do 5 hours on Trevor Story and the way they treat Trevor Story. And he's so special. We can't possibly move him away from shortstop. It's very precious. We can't hurt his feelings. So Trevor Story batting below 200 again. Had a big day in Minnesota on Wednesday. Goes 0 for 4 with 2 strikeouts tonight. Batting in the cleanup spot. Alex Cora changing his lineup tonight. I liked what Cora did with the lineup. Didn't really result with much. But Anthony Contreras, Abreu, 1, 2, 3. They have to get those 3 hitters in a row. To me, to get the most out of this lineup. Cora finally woke up. It took him 19 games to figure that out. But Anthony Contreras, Abreu, 1, 2, 3. That's as good as this team is going to do. I'd still bat Anthony, second or third, but that's a quibble. Neither here nor there. That's how they have to line this thing up. But Roman Anthony, who I thought showed signs in Minnesota of busting out, goes 0 for 4 tonight with the strikeout. He's batting .232 with a .686 OPS. That is not good enough. And Marcelo Meyer, who went 0 for 3 again tonight, continues to not do anything at the plate. Had a good couple of days at the beginning of the year. Felger fell in love with him. He's a beautiful-looking man, Marcelo Meyer. He really is Patrick Sharp-esque in how attractive he is. But, and you watch him in the field, and it's so smooth, and the swing is gorgeous. And, it's just silky smooth in the field, and you look at him, you say, wow, what a baseball player. What a ball player. And then you look at the stats, and you go, well, that doesn't make sense. Well, that's not good. How is he not better than this? Marcelo Meyer batting .176 with a .553 OPS after going 0 for again tonight. This is also a story right now. Marcelo Meyer, the kids on the team, Meyer and Anthony, who the Red Sox have built their whole future around, and I get it. You're asking too much of them. You're asking too much of Roman Anthony to basically be an MVP candidate. It's insane to ask. They've made the ask. They're asking Marcelo Meyer to be an impact player in the big leagues pretty much right away. It's too much of an ask. But they built their entire future around these kids, and so far they have not delivered this year. That doesn't mean they suck. That doesn't mean they're a bust. Roman Anthony is going to be a stud. He's going to be a star. I fully believe that. I'm not 100% convinced about Meyer. I have not been sold on Meyer for quite some time. I've been harder on Marcelo Meyer than most people in this town, and now you see why. Again, everything about him is beautiful. Looks great. It's just, you would look at it and say, that kid knows how to play baseball. And then you look at the results and the output and you say, well, that this doesn't make sense. So at what point are the results going to match the look? And so far, that has not happened this year. So if you're the Red Sox, what do you do about this? Mikey Romero, who I have not thought much of coming up through the minor leagues, was a first-round pick. He's in Worcester. He's an infielder. He's a left-handed hitter. Do you eventually look down there if he has a good start to the year? Christian Campbell's been okay in Worcester so far this year. It's too early to talk about these things, but let's put it on the radar. This infield, you're going to have to figure out. Why are you laughing, Skaz?
Because too early to talk about these things. I listened to the baseball hour earlier, and there was a comment the Greenville Drive are a very
Yes.
exciting watch right now.
I did not say that.
That stopped me in my tracks. No, that was one Tyler Milliken, of course, that said that. And look, I love the Boston Red Sox. I like the Worcester Red Sox.
Sure. Great take.
I don't want to hear about the Greenville effing Drive on April 17th. September, August, maybe even late July. You want to tell me about somebody down in Greenville or somebody that worked their way up to Worcester from Greenville? Great. April 17th, when half your lineup is batting under 250. I don't want to hear about the Greenville Drive. I don't want to hear about it. And do they have anybody in Worcester that can help the team? Is Mickey Gasper, Mikey Romero, or one of these guys going to help somebody?
So I need to mea culpa here. I was in Worcester, I don't know, a week ago. Now, let's remember, it's early season stats, and Campbell was batting, I don't know, 275, something like that.
Not bad.
Not bad. It turned around, put a real nice swing on a ball, double into the gap. You're like, okay, that's the player I've seen. Keep in mind, it's early in the year. Campbell right now batting 246 with a 695 OPS.
It's almost like
not great.
It's like when I was hearing about James Tibbs nonstop, and then I looked at what he did the series after that, and he went 2 for 16. So it's early.
Mikey Romero.
Batting
246 with a 680 OPS.
Not ideal.
Not good. Not good. So maybe your answers in Worcester aren't necessarily there.
I heard Bobby Dahlback's playing well overseas.
Where is he? Japan? Korea?
I believe so. Yes.
Yeah,
I believe so.
Let him feast on Japanese pitching. Let him be the greatest hitter in the history of the Korean Baseball Association. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if he could participate in their bunting competition every year at the All-Star Game, which is still one of my favorite sporting events out there.
I'd like to see him versus Rafaela in the bunt off there.
I think he might be better bunting than Rafaela. I see Cora pull aside Rafaela tonight after the game, kind of talking. Little convo. Hey, Alex, why don't you help the kid out and put the bunt on 0-0, not bunt on 0-1 for a kid who struggles fundamentally to begin with?
Is there a chance the bunt was on 0-0?
Maybe. You know what? Maybe, and he wasn't looking. He wasn't paid attention.
He just wanted to be the hero. No, seeing Cedon Rafaela bat before, I'm not putting that out of the realm of possibility.
You know what, Skaz? It's a good thought. I wonder if anybody asked Cora that after the game. Was the bunt on 0-0? It didn't end up mattering because of a wild pitch and an error at third base that got Duran to third eventually. They did pitch around Marcelo Meyer, which really goes to show you how much Caleb Durbin sucks, because they pitched around Marcelo Meyer when he's batting a $176 and was 0 for 3 on the night, which, looking back on it, here's a second guess. Yoshida was always going to come off the bench. They probably should not have pitched around Meyer. They probably should have gone after Meyer.
It's the point of the night. The Detroit Tigers pitched around, not Hank Aaron, not Barry Bonds, Marcelo Meyer to reach the little guy, Caleb Durbin.
But Durbin was never going to hit in that spot anyway because Yoshida was on the bench.
And they still pitched around Marcelo Meyer.
I think, you know what? I'll be honest. I know that was the old intentional walk. I put that on the manager.
Absolutely.
You got to have a conversation. Like, we're going after Meyer because we're going to walk Yoshida and pitch to Wong to set up the double play.
AJ Hinch, overrated.
No, he's not a very good manager. I would agree with you on that.
It's funny how him and Alex Cora, outside of Houston, seem to not be quite as good.
Cora, I'm going to be fascinated to see how he approaches the rest of this homestand, because Yoshida has to be in the lineup. They've got 6 games remaining. He's going to be in the lineup 5 of those 6 days. You want to find a spot, a breather for him, manage it, fine, whatever. 5 of those 6 days, Yoshida has to be in the lineup. How is he going to make that happen?
And you have Skubal and Valdez the next 2 days. I think it's Skubal tomorrow and Valdez on Sunday, who hates his own teammates sometimes, but is a very good pitcher.
Yes. So who would you rather have against Tarek Skubal tomorrow, Yoshida or Duran?
Yoshida.
Who'd you rather have against Valdez tomorrow?
Yoshida.
Yeah.
I think it is right now.
You know what they're probably going to do? I guarantee you one of their lineups is going to be Kiner Falefa, Monasterio, Story at DH, Durbin. It's the lineup they trotted out against Drohan and the Brewers on the getaway game.
Oh, yeah.
That's what they're going to do. They're going to load up I guarantee you tomorrow, no Duran. They sit him down under the guise of, under the guise of facing the lefty. No Yoshida tomorrow, although I would argue they should put Yoshida in the lineup. Anthony in left, Rafaela. Abreu's going to hit lefties no matter what this year. That's your lineup right there.
Woof.
Question is, does Yoshida play? But you'll see Kiner, Falefa, and Monasterio tomorrow. Behind Bayo, who's a ground ball pitcher.
That's right.
No Meyer tomorrow. You'll see Durbin. You'll see Monasterio. You'll see Kiner, Falefa.
What do you make of Crochet almost being force-fed Wong this year instead of Narvaez, whereas last year they seemed to make a point to make Narvaez catch Crochet?
I hate it. I think there's real confidence with the Narvaez behind the dish. I do not like it. But here's another story coming out of this. Wong went 1 for 2 again tonight. Wong's giving them something at the plate. He did throw out a runner tonight. He's not great behind the dish.
In the 9th or 8th inning there, yeah.
But I guarantee, you probably get, I want to see Narvaez catch Crochet every time out, but more Wong here. Which, hey, listen, I'll take it. If he's giving you this offensively, I'll take it from anybody you can get it from at this point.
This is 110%. The problem with the Red Sox, though, is that, like last year, if you told us in April, last summer, if you were like, hey, in April next year, you're going to be hoping for more Connor Wong and Masataka Yoshida.
Not great.
I can't, what happened in the offseason is what I would have thought, like there was a mass exodus or something. But we're like happy that now we're like looking forward to Masataka Yoshida and Connor Wong. I don't like that. I'm not happy about that.
No, I'm not happy about that either. But hey, the Red Sox won tonight, and that I am happy about. We'll wrap this program up next.
Don't go anywhere. There's more Joe Murray. On the way on 98.
The starting line with Dan Roach on Monday. Toucher and Hardy will be there. Tuesday, I think I'm on with Perillo and Kendra Tuesday morning, so I'll be there in the mornings. Joe will be somewhere on the station on Tuesday. But I wonder how Vegas is going for him. You know, Joe would be the type of person that I would want to go anywhere with because Joe is the most fun individual you've ever met in your life. People always ask, like, you know, if I meet people out in public, they're like, well, what's this person like? What's that person like? And they're like, well, what's Joe Murray like? I'm like, exactly what you would expect. Everything you know about Joe on the air is 100% true.
As advertised.
He is the most authentic, true to himself human being you will ever meet in your life. I'd love to go to Vegas with Joe for about 3 hours, and then I wouldn't be able to keep up. Joe's a big boy. Joe can put him away. I'd love to do dinner with Joe in Vegas, but after that, Joe'd have me on the ropes. Both the Murrays. I went out with Jim Murray once in Philadelphia. That nearly ended very badly. I had a 6 a.m. flight that bailed me out, but he was going after me. He had me on the ropes. And that's where that story ends, because I can't say anything more. That was a night. Skaz, this was a night, and it's over. I'm going home. I'm going to Wegmans, and then I'm going home. Open till midnight. I mean, it's the best. You kidding me? All right, I'm back Sunday morning with Michael Hurley leading into the